because, things over here are crazy, but it's home. It's where I live. It's where everything is for me. And that's why I'm back. And speaking of American, Greg, what's more American than South Park? I mean, come on. Uh, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, what a run they've had with this show. And this is a show that's been in the news a lot lately for a few reasons that I'll outline here, Greg. I think it was less than a week ago that I saw the headline pop up: South Park removed from Paramount Plus, which is deeply concerning in this era of streaming where they just rip things off of social media, not social media, streaming services, and they just disappear forever. But after some negotiations behind the scenes, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, I don't know if their agents are just like wizards, but they got Paramount to agree to a deal that is valued at $1.5 billion to keep South Park on Paramount and CBS networks and streaming services for the foreseeable future. I think there's a year limit on the deal,
They have to make
but
10 seasons of 10 episodes of the show for a certain amount of time. I think for at
yeah,
least a few
I
years.
think this article says it comes out to $300 million a year for these guys, and obviously their team and everything. But like $300 million a year, which is an insane price tag for television, especially animation. Um, this has to be one of the biggest TV deals ever. But
five
Greg, I
years.
know you like South Park.
Yeah.
5 year, dude, 5 years, $1.5 billion, 300 mil a year.
Wasn't Paramount going
That's
like bankrupt?
insane.
Like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, what they were going bankrupt and they're doing this? Like, I'm so confused when they're like, companies are hemorrhaging. We need a buyer. Oh, we just spent $1.5 billion on South Park. Like, what?
I think that, and if Os was listening, I might cause him to run it with a steel chair when I say this, but I look at a lot of these big businesses the same way I do like sports teams, because yeah, you don't follow sports, Greg, but I'll give you the comparison here. Like in sports, a lot of professional sports, they have like a salary cap, which is like the maximum amount of money you can spend to pay players on your team, right? So it stops the like ultra rich from coming in and being like, our team's just gonna have LeBron James and Stephen Curry and just all the best players in the world are just going to play for one team. It makes it competitive, right? Because you can only spend $150 million. You got to divvy it up right. It's supposed to keep the leagues competitive, but there are so many rules and caveats to professional sports and the way that you can like write a contract and structure money and payments, that there's like always a way to make it happen. So it's like, there's always a team that's like, oh gosh, they're screwed. They only have $2 million left in the salary cap, and any good player is going to cost more than that. And then they'll sign them anyway, and you'll see in the news that like, for the first year he's going to make $1 million, but in year five he's going to make $80 million. It's like these bizarre, like backwards deals they make so that like on paper the finances work out. And that's how I look at these businesses, because you're right. It's like one day we're like, oh, Paramount's going to sell their historic film lot because that's how desperate they are for cash. And then now it's like, oh yeah, but they are going to pay $300 million a year for South Park. So yeah, I wish I could make dollars and cents of it,
You're right.
but
It's probably not all up front. It's probably per year, but in total, they're spending that in 5 years. So maybe they're
yeah.
gambling on themselves that they'll come back with a few good movies, or people will watch this as subscribe to Paramount Plus or whatever.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Paramount Pictures is a film studio. They're constantly releasing movies that do make money. This is the company that owns the freaking Transformers, of all things. So they have IP. They release things that do make money. I believe they're in the middle of merger talks, which is going to be a huge deal later in the show because it's all about one of our other stories. But yeah, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Good for uh, I always get their names mixed up. Is it Matt Stone and
Matt
Trey
Stone, Trey
Parker?
Parker.
Okay, yeah. Good for them for getting this going. Did you see, Greg? So they they made this deal. They put out a new episode, and in the episode they're making fun of obviously Trump and his refusal to like reveal like the Epstein list and stuff. And then he released a statement like condemning the show as like it's a fourth-rate TV show, blah blah blah. And they also made fun of I think they made fun of the Paramount like merger thing that we're gonna
They
get
do
to with
that
the
all the
Colbert
time. Yeah, they
story
did that. They do
later.
that a
Yeah.
lot.
So they're having fun. I don't know what their production timeline is like, but it feels like South Park is like always first to the punch. Whenever there's like a modern thing happening, they're just there.
Well, like
Their
they
episode's
have
just
they
out
have a team
tomorrow.
of writers, and the writers, like, the show has gotten more and more away from like your standard comedy animated show to like more and more like real life parody stuff about what's happening in the news. So they have to be plugged in all the time. And like right now, it's just gold for them. It was gold for them 4 years ago, and it's just there's so much happening in our
Yeah.
culture and our society and our political climate that they have just. But they have to be plugged in all the time. Like all their writers, including them, have to be plugged in consistently. That's got to be depressing. That's probably why they're burnt out on it. But
Yeah. I mean, they just produce a high volume of shows. They're, like I said, they're always first to the punch. If there's a pop culture event or a political event happening, their episode, it feels like, is out a week later, which is, of course, impressive. But yeah, they also take breaks. They have those hiatuses they go on, but as shows been around, and at this point, I feel like this is just going to be the next, like, Simpsons. Like, if you came back from the future 15 years from now and was like, oh, South Park still comes out every week, I'd be like, yeah, of course it does. It's South Park. Was ever my show. I've only seen a few episodes of it. I know you're a big fan. I know Asif is a big fan. I don't know if we have any more. Maybe TJ. I could be making that up. I don't know if we have any more South Park fans on staff.
my
But
nephew loves
good
it,
for these
but
guys.
he's too young to
Really?
understand. He's
I was gonna
17.
say,
He doesn't understand the subtext. He doesn't understand it. He's just like, I like Cartman. I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, but you're not supposed to like Cartman.
it's
Like he's a terrible human being.
yeah, it's like fun. It's still fun in the service. It reminds me of me when I started watching Family Guy when I was
Right.
like 13, and I thought Family Guy was so funny, and I loved how like crude and like edgy it was. But I didn't get any of the. I didn't know who they were talking about when they would like name like random actresses and actors from like the 90s and 80s or like politicians and stuff. I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. I just thought it was funny. So it's like that when you're young. That stuff always
Yeah, but I would say Family
kind of
Guy, the
tickles you.
bar for understanding is much lower. Like South Park, you have to be kind of aware what's happening in the current status of your culture in
It's a
America,
bit
in America
more
mainly, and then
current.
you could get a lot more out of it. And like going back to like episodes like 5, 6 years ago, like there you actually were like, oh, that's right, that was a thing. I remember that like Kylie Jenner hit someone with their car or something like that and didn't go to jail. I was like, okay, yeah, I remember
Caitlyn
that.
Jenner, everybody,
Yeah,
before
sorry.
Kylie Jenner sues us. Yeah. Um, Yeah, no, these shows are like time capsules, right? Where you go back and you're like, oh man, that was like a reflection of our culture
Yeah.
when this came out. Um, yeah, so good for them. And hey, it's like Groundhog Day. You got at least 5 more years of South Park, so
10
that
episodes a
show will
year.
be going.
That's a lot of episodes. That's like a 1.2 episodes a month. No,
Well,
no,
10 a
no, it's
year.
0.75 episodes a month,
Yeah,
something
it'd
like
be
that.
like 0.8, something like that. Yeah, but it's a lot. They're gonna be producing at a high clip. They're gonna keep that thing moving. Um, Speaking of things, they're being produced at a high clip, Greg. Video game adaptations are abound everywhere. If you were to just close your eyes and name a random video game, it's probably already gotten an adaptation, or there's one in development somewhere at somebody's studio. And one of those is Mortal Kombat 2. We got the first Mortal Kombat movie in this modern sense. Okay, the modern Mortal Kombat movies. The first one came out in 2021, I think. It was a pandemic movie. I believe it was the first movie reviewed an article for Shacknews. I wrote it. I gave it a 7 out of 10. And now it's getting a sequel 4 years later.
First one came out in
And
'93, sir.
yes, the same year the Jurassic Park came out, which good year for
Good
movies.
year for movies.
Good year for movies. Uh, but now after 4 years, we're finally getting Mortal Kombat 2, and there's some notable differences with this one, Greg. One, Johnny Cage is here, and more importantly, it's Carl Urban. Uh, this was, a bit controversial when they announced it because people were like, Carl Urban's a little old to be Johnny Cage. He's not that young playboy. He's also, is he Australian or like a Kiwi? Is he from New
I think
Zealand?
he's New Zealand.
He's a Kiwi then. Yeah, obviously Johnny Cage, American hero. People are like, what's his American accent gonna sound like? Because you hear that guy talking his natural accent, it is thick. I think he's fine in this trailer though. I like it. I like the idea that they're going with, like him being a washed up actor at this point, like past his prime, like people know him from movies from like the 80s and 90s and stuff. I think that's kind of fun. Also, Greg, one of the things people hated the most about the last Mortal Kombat movie was the main character, Cole Young, who was a new character. He was an original character they made for the movie. He was not from the video games, which I think on paper they did it so that audiences could have like a vessel, like a surrogate to see the world through. They thought of, they introduce you to that world, and people hated it. People hated Cole Young, and I'll tell you what, His ass is nowhere to be found in this
It's
trailer.
that stamp. It's that stamp. I told you, man.
So,
They want people want to put their own stamp on things, and it was the way the writers.
I don't even think
directors,
it was that,
whoever
though.
wanted to put their stamp on their own legacy on the show, and like it didn't take off. And sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does, like Harley Quinn.
I don't even think that was it though. I don't think they wanted. I think they just wanted a protagonist who was like a neutral observer. Because everybody in Mortal Kombat has so much baggage, you know. It's like if it's Liu Kang, there's Sub-Zero, Scorpion. They've got rivalries. They've got like ties to these characters, to their expectations. I think they wanted an original character so they could just be like, oh, here is the ninjas, and these are the people who shoot lasers out of their eyes, and then they can kind of be carried by, whoa, what's all this?
When they do that, they're like, there is no Sub-Zero backstory. It's just, oh, they lost and now they're thralls. Like they don't explain their backstory at all, which is actually interesting because you just want to see them fight, right? That's the big thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know, shame on that writer for wanting to tell a story. Also, this trailer is crazy because at the end here, we just straight up see Noob Saibot. I mean, he gets bisected. Well, I guess bisected is horizontal. He gets, well, maybe still. He gets cut in half by Scorpion, who does the get over here line. We got some fun CG hell fighting, Hell Realm. I don't know. I need David Craddock. He's sick today.
I don't know, man. I'll tell you, like, I mean, the first one, I remember seeing the first one, but I don't remember a lot of it. But that's just because I think there's so much media now. Like, it has a less impactful thing when it comes out because you're on to the next thing the second you watch it.
I appreciate it.
I don't know. Like, the one thing I will say, like, because I'm a huge fan of the '93 movie, the arguably one, I think it's the #1 best video game adaptation movie made of all time. Yes, above the Mario movie.
Whoa.
Just because like the way that it was handled, like most of the people in that film were real martial artists, which was really cool to see that. And I don't think that was the same case in the reboot. And I know Carl Urban's not a martial artist, but like I think that's a cool detail, right? Like, and all the fights are pretty tactical, like they're real fights, you know. But I think in today's culture and today's movie-going culture, like it's too boring. They don't want to see two people really fighting. They want gratuitous amounts of CGI and flips and powers and stuff like that. Like they're bored, right? It's too boring to do that way. And those fights hold up, man. If you've seen the '93 one, a lot of them they're so well choreographed. And like the way they're filmed too, they're very respectful to the video game source material. Like they're almost filmed in like a 2D like battleground the whole time. Really great fight scenes. I'll pull some up if we get into it. But yeah, I like Carl Urban. It's funny because Carl Urban is like, I've interviewed him for The Boys at Comic-Con years and years and years ago before that show took off. And the dude's not a nerd at all. He's like a total manly man about like, you know, likes going camping, works out, doesn't like gaming, doesn't like comics, doesn't like anything nerd culture, but he keeps finding his way into these like iconic nerd roles, which is hilarious to me. Let's see if I can find it actually.
Yeah.
I think I might have it.
It's time.
Yeah, he's not a nerd at all, which is funny. And he keeps going. He's been Judge Dredd. He's been in Lord of the Rings. He's now in Mortal Kombat. Like it's really crazy.
It's showtime.
Yeah. I like him. He's good. I mean, he's obviously great in The Boys as Billy Butcher.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I definitely, when they announced he was going to be Johnny Cage, I was like, well, that seems like a poor casting decision. But I think he's good in the trailer. I'm willing to, I say it all the time on the show. I'm willing to give anything a chance at least before I decide if it's bad or not. Oh, look at this. How long
Hey,
was this?
look
This
at that
looked
good
like,
guy. Oh, you can't see me. I'm always off camera.
I know, the side of your silhouette.
Start
What was
maybe
this?
being on camera for this stuff. Maybe that
You
might
should.
help views.
You should. You're a faceless voice. What year was this, Greg?
Oh god, this is the first year of The Boys, 2019, before the apocalypse.
2019. Okay, I drew right before it. Right before it. I would have already been around by then. I was already here writing for Shacknews by then as a little intern.
Yeah, and I think I asked him in here, like, you know, like, do you like enjoy video games or comics? He's like, no. Well, and I think I'd make a comment, but you're in all these like nerd projects all the time. You know, you've had this like awesome career doing all these comic book, pop culture, nerd stuff. And
I mean, Lord of the Rings, all
which is
that
great,
stuff.
which is cool. He's just dedicated to his craft, you know.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That's great. Well, you know what? I think he might end up making a decent Johnny Cage after all. But we're gonna have to find out, Greg, when this movie comes out later this year. When does this come out? October 24th, so just in time for Halloween. And it sounds like from the trailer they're gonna have the song, Greg. So you can at least have that, and you can rock side to side on your couch as you watch it and sing along.
You've seen the '93 one, right, Donovan? Have you seen the '93 one?
Nope.
You've never seen the '93 one? Oh, dude.
No.
The actor who plays Johnny Cage in that one, his name escapes me in a minute, but he has some of the best one-liners, and people argue to this day like he was the best iteration of Johnny Cage I've ever seen. Like his opening introduction to the character is hilarious. There's jokes that come full circle later in the movie that he does in the beginning of the movie. It's such a great, like, this is how bad the CGI was. Like, they gave him like some weird snake thing.
How the hell does it come out of his hand?
Because yeah, it's supposed to be like a arrow, but they did this because CGI.
Yeah.
But like, look at that beautiful, like, where they are. That location's really cool.
The forest, baby.
But they end up going to this like really his dimension. And actually, it's funny. Short story. Like the guy who plays Scorpion, my old sensei when I worked at Credit, like worked with him, which was kind of cool. Like again, they're all real martial artists. Yeah. And so like, and you got to remember in 1993, dude, this was like the equivalent of like Pokemon. Like a bomb exploded. Like it was. This movie like was
a
huge.
Bloody bomb.
It was huge. It was a huge movie that came out. Obviously, it's made terrible, substantial sequels. But like, yeah, it's been a wild ride seeing this thing evolve because there is so much story in that franchise in Mortal Kombat. Such an interesting story franchise.
Legendary, literally. It's quite legendary. Danny says, I think them using Cage as the main character for the film is the right decision. Yeah, that's what people were saying about the first one, right? When the first one came out, people were like, it should have just been Johnny Cage. Like, he wasn't in the first movie. People were upset about that. And instead we had Cole Young, who, I mean, sucks to be that actor. He's probably out of a job now because you all hated him so goddamn much. But Johnny Cage being in this one, that's good. I look forward to seeing more of him in here.
I mean, like, look at this, man. Like, real fighting. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you show my nephew something, and he's just like bored with it because it's not over the top enough, and that's fine. It's just as things evolve, we get, yeah, it's what it is. Like, this is all real, like real choreographed fighting. You know what I mean? Not, you know,
martial arts, baby. We're also no, but Scorpion definitely has powers, so
he does. So does Sub-Zero. Yeah, they use him very mildly because, you know, there's budget, right? They can't have all that stuff. He has,
I don't
like,
want
a really
Sub-Zero to be. I want Sub-Zero to freeze everything. When I think of Sub-Zero, I want ice all over the place. I want to be in the Fortress of Solitude.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's a cool, like, and the history behind this movie is a lot like the other movies at the time, where, like, you know, Batman, this is like incredibly long process. They didn't know if it was going to do well. They say they did, but they always lie in those behind the scenes. They didn't know. You weren't sure. You know what I mean? You're never sure until it hits it. So yeah, but it was arguably the thing that kicked it off, and then I think a couple of the failed projects destroyed it, and then of course the Mara movie, I think, is what reignited the whole craze again. And since then we've had the Minecraft movie, and we're getting these other movies, and we're getting these other video game projects. Like, it's the next superhero trend. I think I've said that a few years ago when the Mara movie came out. It's like, we're gonna see more AAA video game adaptations.
There's a whole lot of them coming. There's a whole lot on the way. And we'll be talking about this.
Put it on the list, Donovan. Your list is quite long.
Yeah, it'll be on there somewhere. I don't know how high up it'll be, but it'll be on there somewhere.
See, the thing is too, like, because there's, like I said, I know a lot about this. So, like, a lot of the people in this movie had like a career in. There was a live action like arena television show where all these stunt coordinators and martial artists would be, and I forget what it was called. But like a lot of them ended up doing like Power Rangers, being like doubles in Power Rangers for the putties, and being in Mortal Kombat and doing all these other things because they were real life stunt actors and martial artists. And so like when you wanted something to look good, you would hire them. Now they just hire a caller and give him CGI kicks. I'm just kidding. He probably does real kicks, but kicking is hard when you get older, and he's pretty old.
He can do it. He's a consummate professional. Before we get to our next story, I want to remind folks to follow the stream. Hit that heart or the notification bell so that you're made aware every single time the Shacknews Twitch channel goes live. Consider subscribing. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can subscribe at no additional cost once per month. We call them Bezos bucks. They call them Prime Gaming subscriptions. Please use it on shacknews.com. Help us keep the show running. And of course, what's up?
Good.
I was going to tell people to follow us on social media because we're on X.com at Shacknews. We're on Instagram at Shacknews Media, Facebook at Shacknews, and we've got 3 YouTube channels. Although I think Greg's showing us a video from a different YouTube channel.
Oh, sorry. No, this is WCA Masters. That's what the show was called. So this was a show. Think about like WWE, but it was all like martial arts based instead. So they had like certain characters would come out and they had like nicknames and they would train. There'd be like a story arc and they would fight in the arena. But a lot of these people are real martial artists, like 100, and they were in Mortal Kombat and in Power Rangers and in like multiple action movies as stunt doubles. So it was just a really cool show because like the stunt people never get like attention. You know what I mean? Like it's always the actor. You know, Chris Pine's not really jumping
It's
off
happening
that boat,
soon.
right?
We're finally getting our best stunt performer category at the Oscars, guys.
There you go. Yeah,
I think,
but this was in the '90s, man. So it's really, I mean, it's a cool little time capsule, and like you can see in the beginning, there's people who are in Mortal Kombat, people in Mortal Kombat 2, Power Rangers, lots of different stuff. That guy is, I think, the guy that dies to saying Kano, or he dies in one of the fights. Anyway, so it's if you ever heard of it, check it out. WCM Masters. You can watch it on YouTube because it's so archaic, but this was at a time where ninja stuff was peaking. Ninja Turtles, Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas, like that ninja thing was popping.
Martial arts movies were
martial art movies, like, you know, with Ninja
big,
Turtles sparked the ninja thing, and it was like a thing for I think like a decade. Power Rangers, like all that stuff came from this. So it's just a cool little history lesson, and I happen to know a lot about it that intertwines with the legacy of Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, there
Denny
you go.
remembers it. Very similar to American Gladiators. Yeah, a little newer. Gladiators was a little older, like late '80s, early '90s when it came out, but this was like mid '90s. But it's super cool. Super cool show. Sorry.
The mid 1990s. We had some great television programs all those years ago.
We did. I don't know what Jimmy Neutron is, but I know what WCM Masters is.
Dude, Jimmy Neutron, boy genius, man.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
the
what
gap. There's the gap right there. Or
what a
what's
show
the other
that
one
is.
where they have the platypus?
Phineas and Ferb, they just came back. They
never
provided
seen an
on Disney
episode.
Plus.
Never seen an episode.
You as an appreciator of Saturday morning cartoons, you would have liked Phineas and Ferb. That was like quintessential Saturday morning cartoon, where it's like every episode was contained, but they also had like the same through line, and there was always like the same beats, like 1, 2, 3. But they were funny. They had good song. The animation was silly. It was great. I love.
There was no place for me to watch it. Like that was the problem. I was in college, and so you
Turn
had
on
to
Disney
have
Channel.
TV.
Oh, you're in college. Yeah.
YouTube is in
Well, now-
infancy. Like I had no place to watch it. You know what I mean? Like that was the thing. So
Yeah. Well, now it's streaming on your favorite streaming service, Disney Plus. Welcome, Arm Squires. And speaking of streaming and the companies that rule over them, how about another Paramount story for you? Because this week on July 21st, a very special day here, the Stephen Colbert Show got canceled. Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And this isn't an instance of like, oh, they're going to fire him and replace him with a different host. They're just getting rid of the whole show. CBS is like, we're just not going to do late night anymore. We're just getting rid of the whole goddamn thing. So this is one of those stories, Greg, that has layers to it, right? Because it's like shows get canceled all the time.
yes, absolutely.
Network shows get canceled all the time. But there's a bit more beneath the surface here, because obviously Stephen Colbert, if you aren't familiar, is a very liberal, left-leaning person, and he tackles politics on his show very often. And something he has criticized very much is the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself. A few months ago, I think earlier this year, CBS got into a lawsuit. I think it was with the federal government, or maybe it was just Trump, because of the segment they did on 60 Minutes
The way
about
they
him.
edited the I watched the segment. The way they edited it was considered like unfair or manipulative or whatever.
There was a lawsuit, and they settled. They settled recently for $16 million with Trump over this lawsuit. And Stephen Colbert went on his show and was like, that settlement was pretty much a bribe, because Paramount is currently trying to merge with Skydance. It's an $8.4 billion deal. So I guess that's how they're paying for the fucking South Park show or whatever we were talking about earlier. And obviously the merger needs federal government approval. Your company is in the middle of a lawsuit with the president of the United States. Odds are, him being the person he is, he's not going to approve your $8.4 billion merger. So to appease him, you, one, settle for $16 million, and then two, you fire the loudmouth late night host who is saying bad things about the boss on TV. And in fact, you just scrap the whole show together, which is the working theory. Obviously,
Right.
That's
It's
there's
the
no,
theory. It's the assumption.
you
It's
know,
the it's
yeah.
what people think.
I
There's no evidence. Right. That's the
I
problem. So
believe CBS in Paramount in their official statement was saying that it was because declining profits and shrinking viewership, which for what it's worth is probably true because it's a network television show in 2025, and I think every show that airs on network TV uh, gets less viewers than it did 10 years ago, or especially longer. Um, which of course creates a whole conversation about the profitability of TV and, does everything need to be profitable to exist? And,
well, we
you
live
know,
in capitalism,
where
so
should
that
they
would be
have,
yes. I mean, the answer is yes. If you live in a capitalistic society,
um,
yes.
which we live in, Greg,
It shouldn't be.
which we
Like
do
it
live
shouldn't
in,
be that way. We need to find
which
an
we do live
alternative
in.
because it's obviously reaching to the breaking point. But
Um,
who cares? We can't worry about that now. We have to make money.
yeah. So Stephen Colbert went out and he announced it on his show, like live, I believe. So you could hear all the audience react in real time and whatnot. They're still on until the beginning. I think it's the end of spring. So it'll be like March, April 2026 when they actually finish and do their last show. Um, obviously, they've already done multiple shows since the announcement, and they've been just hitting at Trump in every episode now, which at this point I imagine they're just gonna push the envelope and see if CBS will just pull them off the air live because now they got nothing to lose. So I think yesterday they were doing like fucking Epstein jokes and shit. But it's crazy. Stephen Colbert is like a very beloved TV personality, and he's been around for decades.
He started on the
He
Daily
is a
Show, right? That was where he started, I think.
he did. Jon Stewart actually did a piece yesterday or 2 nights ago after the news came out and talked about working with him, Colbert, and he had like the pictures of them together, and he was like, he made the joke of like, we had this opportunity to like elevate, and Colbert went and challenged himself and became a host of his own show, and he's like, I ran away into the mountains and like disappeared. Um, so yeah, this is kind of like taking the world by storm, and it's raised some really concerning questions
It's
about
scary.
who controls just the media and what people are allowed to say on TV. I believe what's the name of the red-headed host on The View? She was the one. Is it Kathy Griffin? She was the one who like this is like 10 years ago, Greg. I don't know if you remember this. It was like when Trump was first running for his first term. She put the picture out of her holding like a mannequin of his head like bleeding, and then like she got like super fired from all her job. Like it was she got a lot of blowback for it. Ended up apologizing and whatnot. Um, but I think she went on The View and said like some bad stuff about Trump this week. And then he was like, she better like watch out before her show is next or something like that. And it's like, oh Jesus Christ, what is happening here? So is yeah, definitely a dangerous precedent that you know that the shows can start falling when you say bad things about the
Well,
president
no,
of the
like
United States.
Obama said it best. He was at
But
some kind of college making a talk, and he said, "Could you imagine if I revoked Fox News' credentials from the White House? Like how all the right wing people would be like, that's a information of free speech, and you can't do that." And like, but it's only and only infringes on free speech if you disagree with it. That's the
right.
so I mean it clearly does. It's clearly shady and it's clearly bad, and it clearly says a lot about us being barely in 8 months of his presidency and how much things have changed for the worse and period and overall scary, very scary.
Squire says that Paramount and Skydance are also like nuking their DEI departments and whatnot. Yeah, I mean that again, that's another thing that we've seen a lot of the last like 8 months, like you said, ever since Trump got back in office, all those companies that during the pandemic, after George Floyd and the BLM movements were like, we're doing DEI initiatives, we're gonna listen to black people, we're gonna hire more gay people and trans people for our jobs. All those companies are like, oh, never mind, putting those words back in their mouth, uh, eliminating those departments because suddenly it's no longer favorable by the new regime in office. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how this all ends up. I don't think it's going to get reversed or something. I think
No,
the
it's not
likely outcome is the
reversed.
show. The show will die next year, and then I think Colbert will probably end up getting the streaming show. He'll get a fucking
I mean,
Netflix
that's what I
show for
think.
like five
Streaming
hundred
show,
million
or he'll do
dollars.
something on YouTube. You know what I mean? Or he'll pivot because, like you said, like it's not that network TV is dying. It's like people are consuming it in other places. Like for
Yeah,
example, like the Daily Show. I get my dose of the Daily Show on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah.
just, I get the segments that they focus on Facebook. Like that's where I
I
get
see it
their
on
views.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
like or YouTube.
And
Like there's other places to go now than just the television, and I think a lot of networks have really struggled with that concept. Because the ad
yeah,
revenue has got to be worse, like on TV, than it is on like online. I mean, it's probably still bad online, but not as bad as TV. You just have to adapt. Like that's a shame.
um,
People want their stuff brought to them now. That's how that works now.
they do. And speaking of the Daily Show, Jon Stewart made a really good point in his first show after they announced Colbert's cancellation, and he was like, "Yes, it might be true that the show was getting declining profits and viewership, but that doesn't mean it's like the end all be all, right? Like you don't just throw out the entire show. Like late night is an institution. It's not just like a show. It's been around for decades, and he likened it to CDs. He was like, "Hey, when CDs stopped being popular, we didn't just go like, all right, music, like it's been a good run. Like we're done making music now because CDs aren't popular anymore. Like we found a new way to distribute music, and we, met people where they were." So yeah, I feel like the profits reason is more so a scapegoat. It's an easy excuse to be like, all right, well now that headache is out of the way. Trump, please say yes to our $8 billion merger so that we can all pocket an ungodly amount of cash and move on with our lives. Um, so there's that, Greg. There's something to smile about today. And hey, speaking of things to smile about, look up because it's time for story number 4, Greg. I mentioned at the top that we haven't done a show in 14 days. And 14 days might sound like not a lot of time, but guess what's happened in the last 2 weeks, Greg? Superman released in theaters and a whole new cinematic universe was born. It's been 12 years since Superman was in his own movie on the big screen. 12 long years.
Probably for his own movie.
His
Okay,
own movie, yeah. Just a Superman movie. It's been 12 long years for fans, and James Gunn has delivered a Superman movie. I'm gonna review it not right now, but after this news segment because I want to talk about box office. I think Superman just crossed $400 million worldwide at the box office, which is pretty damn good. It's not like Avengers money, but it's pretty good. And there's an interesting conversation to be had here, Greg, because the movie is doing great in America, but overseas it's like middling.
Well,
so
he's
like
arguably
China
an
and whatnot.
imbuement of America. Like so that's and we
That's the
already
story.
yeah.
That's the story. Is that James Gunn was being asked, about this, and he said that I think it's a part of a growing anti-American sentiment, where like foreign countries are just less interested in like not just American movies, but movies that are like have America ingrained in their DNA, right? Like obviously Superman, the OG slogan was truth, justice, and the American way. Now
Which came later, by the way. That came later after he was created.
Well, they've gotten rid of it. It's not a thing anymore. They don't even do that anymore. It's something else. It's like truth, justice, and like something values or like human values. It's like they got rid of the American part value. Of it. It's like something different. But there's a growing anti-American sentiment. It's like in general, American blockbusters have not done as well in China over the last handful of years. Take a few guesses why. And Superman is kind of a victim of that, right? Where like maybe 20 years ago, people liked seeing the big rah Statue of Liberty, beat your chest, red, white, and blue American movies. And now that shit just turns people off. But I don't want that to be the only conversation because Superman is doing quite well. It's up past $400 million. It is going to be one of the biggest movies of the year. Got some favorable reviews. Me and Denny are going to review it very soon on this channel here. Squire says he hasn't seen it. Denny has. Squire says, wonder what China's #1 movies have been the last few years. I'm glad you said that. So the #1 movie, yeah, it's called. There's this movie called Neza 2. It's a sequel that came out this year. I think it's like the highest grossing movie in the world. It made like over $1 billion. And we're getting an American version with American actors because we hate subtitles soon. But that's what Denny said. Truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. That's what it is. That's the modern version. Because what is the American way anymore? So Superman's trucking along. There you go. 426 worldwide. This is one of those movies that this is going to be in theaters for a long time because people are going to see it. I've seen it twice. I took my family to see it. My parents will go to the movie theaters often, but they wanted to go see Superman. My parents told me it was their favorite Superman since Christopher Reeve. My 50 something year old parents, they liked it. They thought it was a good movie. Obviously directed by James Gunn, who is no newbie to the comic book genre at this point. He did the Guardians trilogy for Marvel, and then he just did the Suicide Squad before becoming the chief of DC Studios.
Bar's low for the last two actors that played. Henry Cavill's
like a lot of people like Henry Cavill.
People do like Henry Cavill, but for different reasons. Like my wife likes Henry Cavill, but it's not for the reason you think, Don. It's not because he played Superman.
I mean, okay. I also know some heterosexual dudes who loved Henry Cavill as
Yeah,
Superman.
he seems like a great guy, but yeah,
Yeah.
he's a hard character to
Mhm.
do, right? In general, like he's very plain. But like I mean, if anyone can make him interesting, from what I've seen, is James Gunn. He seems like a really interesting, complex character now with the themes that they put in
Yeah.
that film, which is good because he's been a white bread character for so long, and he's very hard to
Mhm.
do. And I think Zack Snyder was it Zack Snyder really lead to the Jesus allegory, and I thought that was like a little much, a little hard, like he's the savior of everybody, like the Jesus. Did you catch that in
I
Zack Snyder's Superman?
I mean, did I catch it? It's in the trailers. Did they say in the movie they'll see him as a god, or he'll be a god to them? Yeah. I know. Before we get into the Superman review, I also just want to talk about the universe at large, right? Because this is the first movie, DC
Yes,
Studios, the new DC universe, right? We're starting from scratch pretty much. And here's what's coming up next, Greg. Do you know what the next DC Studios movie is that's going to
Supergirl,
come out
right?
after this? Supergirl,
Yeah,
which I linked in our news story. If you could put up there, this is smart marketing. This and I know I sound like a corporate cheerleader when I like congratulate marketing, but this was very smart and well timed because obviously the Superman slogan was "Look up." It's on the posters. It's a play on it's a bird, it's a sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman. And then after Superman has its big opening weekend, James Gunn puts out the first poster for Supergirl, which is going to use the slogan "Look out," and you see it's got it spray painted on the logo. We see Millie Alcock, Supergirl, face kind of off screen, drinking like a Slurpee. Going to be inspired by Woman of Tomorrow. She's got the trench coat on. I believe Woman of Tomorrow's got to be the most popular Supergirl comic book run. And I believe we're gonna get that storyline. I think Lobo is, and I think Jason Momoa is playing Lobo, so it didn't take him long to get back into the comic book world here over at DC. They're doing that. And I'm trying to think what else they have. I think they just said they hired the Wonder Woman movie writer. They're rebooting that. They're getting rid of Gal Gadot's ass. Um, yeah, they're starting from scratch. I think Andy Muschietti's doing their Brave and the Bold uh, movie. So the universe is officially off. We spent so many years, Greg, on the show talking about it because I think it was 2.5 years ago that they hired James Gunn. So now that it's finally started, those dominoes are finally starting to fall over and hit each other.
no, and it's
It's a
smart
new
too because
era.
the way he's like the thing is like I think that your average person, at least in the US, like knows the origin stories of these characters or knows of
Mhm.
them. So we don't need another origin story. And that's what I've read that they skip. And we'll get to this in the review, but they don't really give there's no origin story. He kind of just there. Right? He's
Danny, get in
already there. They
here. I know
skip
you see
that part and they
the
just go
script
into
call.
the
Yeah.
character, which is smart because they shouldn't waste time on doing that. Everyone knows the origin of Superman. Like, if you don't, like, it's very easy to find out. Like it's
James James Gunn had a very controversial statement, Greg, before this movie came out, where he was like, "There are three things I never want to see in a movie again." He said, "I never want to see Peter Parker getting bitten by a spider again." He said, "I never want to see like the pearls in an alleyway, Batman's parents getting killed outside of a movie theater. And I never want to see like Krypton being destroyed and like Superman being shot through space and landing on Earth and the Kents finding him on the farm and all that." He was like, "Those three things like never need to be done again,"
yeah.
which people argued about. There was a lot of debate about that. A lot of people like are on your side were like, "Hey, we can get rid of the origin story. We know where Superman comes from." But a lot of people are also, a bit more traditional, like, "No, I want that in there. If it's the story, if it's its own thing, then I
It
want
can
to
be
see it
seen
from the
as different
beginning."
interpretations is interesting to see. That's the thing. It's different ways
Yeah.
of how the origin starts. Oh, wait, the
Yep.
steel
Yep.
chair comes in.
There he is. I told him. I said, jump in here so because we'll just transition into the review now. Denny, hey, there you go. Okay, so Denny's got his
He's
Superman
ready.
shirt. In stealth, Greg,
Sure.
I've got a Superman shirt on too, and you didn't even notice it because this is a Metropolis Meteors baseball team T-shirt. The Meteors aren't a real baseball team, Greg. This is the Metropolis team. You remember in the trailer for the new Superman where he fights the people in the baseball stadium? It's actually the Cleveland Guardian Stadium. It's the Metropolis Meteors.
The name is also like the meteors is also weird.
I love it. I saw it in the movie and I was like, I need that on a shirt. And then I saw that Roosevelt's was doing one. Okay, well, let's do it. Superman is out. Denny, I'll kick us off by saying I like this movie quite a bit. I thought it was fun. I thought it inspired hope. I see the meme going around with like the syringe that says hope getting injected into people. I thought David Cornsweet is a fun Superman. I thought Rachel Brosnahan was an awesome Lois Lane. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, probably the best Lex Luthor I think I've ever seen in anything animated live action. He's so good. I thought it was
Love some
funny.
Lex Jones.
Yeah, story is a bit all over the place. It's very scatterbrained, but I thought it worked mostly for me. I thought the Guy Gardner stuff was good. I liked Hawk Girl. I enjoyed this movie all around, but I'm curious as to what you thought about it.
Well, I enjoyed it a lot too. I did see it opening
Nice.
weekend, and I was impressed. Like,
Mhm.
especially coming out of like the Zack Snyder era, you gotta do things differently, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that Gunn being the guy to make this happen was the right decision because he knows both his characters and stuff like that, but he also isn't afraid to use other characters
He loves
that
his
may not
oddball
be as well
characters.
known and
He
make them.
really
He
loves his
does.
oddball characters. Yeah, that's in all of his media, not just in Superman. Like
Mhm.
anything he's done is like he
I
takes
mean,
those really weird characters that no one's heard about. You know?
I mean, talk about oddball characters. Mr. Terrific
Oh, he's
steals
rad.
this movie. He
Yeah, he's
steals this
great.
movie. Greg,
He's rad.
when you watch this movie, Greg, you're gonna love Mr. Terrific. He's one of the best parts of this movie. Every line he says is so funny. When he's like he's got that action scene where they're playing the music, which is one of my favorite set pieces in the movie. His relationship with like Green Lantern throughout all of it, I thought was funny. Him like heckling Superman and all that was really good. Also, shout out to that actor, Eddie Gathegi, who was Darwin in X-Men First Class, and they fucking blew
Come a
his
long
ass
way.
up
Yeah,
after saying he
he
couldn't
died
die.
instantly to prove the
Yeah,
situation was serious. Yeah.
yeah. But
Come a
he
long,
talked
long
about how
way.
this, yeah, he talked about how this was like a full circle moment for him. I believe that the whole idea that I think, and I could be mixing my words here. I believe he was told that he was going to come back to X-Men at some point, and it never happened. So this kind of felt like his full circle moment, finally getting to return to a comic book role and do it justice. And he's awesome. He's great
Yeah, I
in
think they
this
did
movie.
like, obviously like a lot of people were confused by like, some of the other cast. Like you got Nathan Fillion and there is Guy Gardner and people who
Yeah,
didn't know who Guy
my
Gardner
parents were
was
so confused.
were like, what is happening here?
I hate
That
My
Guy
parents did not
haircut,
Gardner.
get
I
it.
really wish.
like
I mean, Rayner gets
you're supposed to hate
stomped on
him
all the time. So
though.
does
He's supposed
Stewart.
to, yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
playing that character
See that's yeah.
correctly.
He's so funny in this movie. You're supposed to hate Guy Gardner, and it works. Like he's so annoying in this movie, but he's funny. He's really funny. But no, my parents they were like, Jonathan Stewart, where's he?
Yeah,
Um,
where's Jon Stewart? We
yeah,
never
I had to
Yeah,
heard.
explain to them. I was
coming
like,
He's
up,
in a
oh, this
TV
coming
movie
up,
is
show. Damn
so
it! No, I want him in
the,
the
the
movie.
yeah.
HBO,
They're gonna do the Lantern show. He'll be
they're doing a
there.
Lantern show. You're gonna get that Hal Jordan and
Yeah,
Jon Stewart action together, so that's actually gonna be a thing.
hmm
They're
and
pushing
he'll
pretty
show up
heavily
when they do a movie.
fairly
Like
soon.
yeah. Um,
Oh, of course, I got
but
a package of mine,
no,
but
I also I want to talk more about Nicholas Holt, who plays Lex Luthor in this movie. There was a story that came out like before the movie that people were kind of getting a little up in arms about because Nicholas Holt like got paid the most out of all the cast. He got paid more than David Corn Sweat, Rachel Brosnahan. People were like he's not even the main character, but it's like Nicholas Holt's the like biggest actor in the movie. It's how it works. He's the most famous person
It's
in
what,
this
what your
film.
agent argues.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, he's also just a terrific actor. And holy shit, him as Lex Luthor is one of my favorite comic book villains in so many years. I think that the MCU is kind of like beaten down how people look at like villains in movies because a lot of them are just there to like serve the hero story. They always kill their villains. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor is so good. Every single second that he's on screen, it is like it's electric, like his mannerisms. You see it in the trailer where he's like looking down at the monitor and like the way his like lip quivers as he's like watching Superman fight against these other characters. Even when you see him, he's like loading the pistol, the way he talks, every little like gesture and mannerism that he has is so Lex Luthor that I instantly I'm like they need to bring him back for multiple Superman DC movies. He needs to be around.
impressive
Um,
like legs hating I've ever seen. Like
yeah,
you get
he,
the he's the premium example of a hater.
he's
Like
given
the
the blueprint for how to be a hater.
the monkey scene or whatever. That was like I was like,
So
man,
good. Yeah. I
like
mean,
a pocket universe. All this stuff is like, but it's so like comic booky, but in a good way. Like
yeah.
there's
I mean,
so much happening there. Where like and I remember in the interview that they were doing before the movie came out, where he was talking about how like imagine being someone like Lex Luthor, where you're like the smartest man on the planet, and nobody cares because Superman exists.
yeah,
So
because he
it's
just
like
yeah, just a god space alien comes down and just like reigns supreme. Yeah, and I mean he has a is a monologue in this movie where he talks about hating Superman and just why he hates him so much. And it is like, again, one of the best parts of the movie. It's so good. It is so good.
Yeah,
That character is so well written and
he really
acted.
ate it well. And I think Gunn really fed into that, and he knows that like having that dynamic on screen is
Mhm.
really going to draw people in a way that works for both sides, both the Superman side, and we're
Mhm.
just having a strong villain that can come back again and
Yep.
given time to make it work. Like that's
Yep.
all like, the sweet spot. You want to get all of that goodness that like took like 8 seasons of Smallville or whatever, but you can get all of that on screen in a
Yeah.
couple of scenes.
Yeah.
Like it's good stuff.
It's so good. I think speaking of dynamics, I mean, just the chemistry between David Corn Sweat as Clark Kent Superman and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane is so refreshing. I mean,
Yeah.
instantly one of my favorite like couples in a comic book movie in many years. Maybe since I don't know, like Star Lord Gamora. Like I'm trying to think of other really good ones recently. But I mean, they're just so good. And the scene from the trailer where they're in the apartment talking, just that could have been half the movie, and I don't even think I would have like blinked.
The thing
Um,
is that I didn't realize how long that scene was until people were
yeah,
talking about it afterwards. They're like, that scene went for like 10 to 12 minutes. You don't even
yeah.
feel like it's like they're having that conversation the entire time and it's just
It
going.
feels like 3 minutes. Yeah.
Which is
No
impressive.
superhero
That's
stuff.
good screenwriting and that's also great chemistry on the screen. Like it
Hmm.
was really impressive to see like just a mixture of how their dynamics work together. But I
Yeah.
was also impressed by the fact that like they managed to get all of this in the movie while also having the main core of like the conflict and stuff, and the wars happening and stuff like that as well, and
Man,
that whole side of
I
things.
I did not expect the war storyline to go as far as it did. Because obviously in the trailer they show it. There's like a country invading or whatever,
Oh
and they
yeah,
talk about it in the
Kablachistan. They
trailer.
wait like they give it some fake name. Yeah, they always give it some fake name.
It's yeah. Which the ones it's
Sokovia and stuff.
yeah, which are those ones that have been around in DC Comics forever. Johanpur and Baravia, yeah. But that storyline, the commentary there goes like hard. I did not think they would lean that far into it, where they're straight up talking about invasions, you know, bigger countries with more money and ties to the U.S. invading smaller countries that the U.S. has a
Yeah,
spotty history with. Oh, I was like, wow. I was like, okay, we're getting
the
into this
Superman,
stuff.
that weapon of mass destruction. Like,
Yeah. I thought all of that was really interesting. Um, I would have liked more of the Kents. We don't get a lot of Ma and Pa Kent. They're like a couple scenes. I would have liked maybe like one more scene with them to really like drive home that relationship. But I like the stuff with them is good. I think Pa Kent
Do
is
they
also
slight spoiler
specifically really good.
territory? Do they get into Ultraman at all? Like, do they call him Ultraman? Is that like a Bizarro tease for like the
he
next
is
villain?
indeed
Is
the
he a
Ultraman with a
clone?
big U on his chest. It's kind of like
It's Ultraman, yeah,
Oh, it's just
yeah,
Ultraman. They just
yeah.
keep him in the mask the whole
it's
time. Okay,
Ultraman.
damn.
It's Ultraman. They straight
Yeah, we're
up
not
call him.
gonna say anything else there,
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
no comments, but that is Ultraman. Um, I think it is something that James Gunn does so well, Denny. I think you'll probably agree with me. But just the ensemble is so good because it's like obviously
yeah,
the core three, right? Is Lex, Lois, and Clark. But it's like even Jimmy Olsen, Skylar Gisondo, like steals multiple scenes in this movie, like with his whole thing with him and Eve and
yeah.
uh,
The ladies' man. I mean,
yeah.
Jimmy.
Yeah, turning Jimmy Olsen into a ladies' man, such a funny spin for that character. In this, Eve Tessmacher, a character that was made for the Richard Donner Superman movie, um, by him and Mario Puzo, who wrote The Godfather. Her getting the modern adaptation here was funny. I even liked, God, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Um, that plays the boss at the Daily Planet.
Oh,
Um, Perry,
Harry White.
yeah, Perry White. Yeah,
Perry White, yeah. Um,
like it all feels like pretty
he's so
like
good.
authentic to the characters, but then
It
also
does.
like it makes you want to just like see more of that dynamic at the Daily
Dude,
Planet of other
I
stories. Like,
the end of that movie where they're all together, I was like, I want a Daily Planet show on HBO Max. I just want a weekly Daily Planet
well, it's
show where
funny
it's
you mentioned that because apparently they're
Wendell
making a
Pierce.
Jimmy
I know.
Olsen series is going to be a
Yes,
thing,
dude.
so that's going to be happening with like more of that.
I I would be so on board for a Jimmy Olsen show if it's essentially like Daily. Obviously, he's the main character, but if it's the Daily Planet and we're just getting like you get
Yeah,
Cat Grant coming in, Lois Lane and Clark still show up every now and then, but it's
some
like
true crime and some other
Perry
and
Mason. Yes, that would be so damn cool. I loved it. And hey, there's a shot in this movie where Jimmy Olsen is writing an article and we see him open the CMS for the Daily Planet. And
yeah.
I was in the theater and I was like, I was like, that's a CMS for a content website, because he does the thing, and Shacknews CMS doesn't work like this one's like this. It was probably a WordPress CMS where you do the like save draft, like publish the website, all that. I was like, that's like an actual like CMS. I was like, good on you, James Gunn, or whatever like set designer like knew to make that look authentic. Yeah, had a
I
great time
was
with the movie.
I was really impressed considering like how much was covered both in the film and then also having it set and in the way that they did, making sure that it's like a situation where like
Mhm.
you have it starting off with Superman having to hold an L, and then
Yeah.
like what does this feel like, and then how do you bounce back from it when you actually
Mhm.
have to like
Would you would you think of a crypto Superdog heavily
oh
involved in this
yeah,
movie? Was not expecting so
crypto.
much crypto.
Yes, I like of course you get like the folks who are like crypto was cringe and they're all just like freaking out over there being a super dog in this movie. I want a serious tone at all
Oh
times, and
No,
man,
it's
we
like
had that, and it was not great.
I'm
people
It's
get
like
mad
not
about
I'm
everything.
great.
sorry, but if you read a Superman comic and there's plenty of times when Clark Kent is not as serious all the time about anything. Um,
Crypto is great in this movie. I don't want to spoil, but I love where they take that at the end with crypto when you learn a little bit more about him. Um, there's the one scene where he's like talking about crypto to Lois and has something to the effect like, "Oh, it's just a dog," and Superman's like, "I know," and he's not even a good one. Um,
yeah.
Dog's a
but he still
liability,
wants to
dude.
save.
That dog is too
Well,
powerful.
yeah, it's not even a good one, but it's
Yeah, but he still
but
cares
it's
about
like
him. He's like, "I gotta save him. He's alone. He's scared."
but it also is like it's a metaphor for like the actual like story too, because he doesn't have any control over him. Like,
Yeah,
he's out here running wild, basically like, hey, sit down. And
yeah,
Crypto's looking at him like, why? I can do whatever I want here. I can fly. Like
hmm
it's all good stuff there for a young Superman who doesn't have control of everything or every situation. He can't even, figure out how to not have things turn against him in the press or the media, or what decision we should make when it comes to this war storyline and stuff. Like, there's a lot of pieces in play across the
hmm
board that are, not necessarily things that he has control over. And
yeah,
that's a good way to do a Superman story. Then you add in the lights
100%.
and stuff, and you're like, oh, well, this is going to go a lot of different places.
Yeah, Superman
Um,
works best, I think, when he has that like naivete, like boyish charm of like black and white. Like that's where he really succeeds. The Schneider one was just too dark. It was just too dark and too tormented, and you're like, oh god, like come on, let's, you know what I mean. This is exact opposite of that, and that's why Denny, you said I think people are criticizing it for that. But it's like, no, we went there. It was not good. I'm glad they're going back to like the boyish, like childlike Superman, who's very, I'm just trying to help people, right? That's his whole thing. Like there's no agenda, there's no dark past. He just wants to help people. Like that's it.
Well,
He has not tortured,
there's-
like
I mean, we can't get into everything on that end. I do like the Fortress of Solitude that did a mixture of some of that
very
too. Though
cool.
it was nice seeing like the actual fortress in the movie, like being a thing.
Yeah,
And I
with his
will say,
robots.
like, I
Yeah,
have
the
to give,
robots too.
hmm
like, I have to give credit to like the actual like filmmaking side of things. Like, it's just shot like drastically different than the other films, and
looks very good. Cool effects. I need to check on this. My brother also loved Superman, and he's not a big movie person in general, but he loved it. He told me that he read that they did the Solitude Fortress of Solitude effect practically, where like they get close to it and it like comes out of the ground and emerges. And then when they leave, it like he said that was done practically. I don't know if it was like a miniature or like some weird superimposition or whatever. I have to look into that. Um, but yeah, I thought that looked cool. I thought the fights all looked great. Even the shot where like Jimmy's like on the street at night going to like meet up in the alleyway, I thought like that shot, like that scene looked like it was
yeah,
shot very well. Obviously there's a shot in the trailer where he's like coming, there's like the stuff being destroyed and Superman comes through that smoke. Um in like the cloud of smoke and he just emerges. He's like tiny. It's a super wide shot. I mean, just chills. That's the stuff that gives you
yeah,
goosebumps.
it's the good stuff. Like, I like seeing Superman fly in this movie. It felt good, and I think that like in the time right now, like the tagline and hope and all that stuff, like people really needed some of that energy going into
It's
this.
nice. We haven't gotten that
So
in a big movie like this in a long time, it feels.
yeah,
So it's
it
cool.
feels good coming out of the theater for this one. and it also paints a pretty bright future. I feel like for the overall like universe they're trying to create moving forward. And
That's why I
I
wanted to
think it's
mention.
massive.
This is the
Like,
first. I mean, this is the first time a lot of us have felt optimistic leaving a DC movie, and I'm just excited to see where we go now. Right? Like I'm hyped up now for Supergirl next year. I was already looking forward to it, but I'm hyped up. I'm excited. I think they're doing like Clayface, which is really random, but I'm looking forward to that.
oh, yeah, and I'm hyped for
Lantern
the
show.
Clayface because they
Yeah.
got like we're leaning into horror and just gonna do it. And I think that
Yeah.
Gunn is the right guy to get on this because he knows how it is to be like both in the system, but then also like trying to make it individual projects and
Hmm.
like not having to connect the universe across every project either. Like just make me a good film.
Yeah.
Like give us different genres. So if I want a Clayface movie that's going to be a horror film, it's not to connect the Batman in the next three projects. No, just make it a good storyline and everything else that makes sense for the film, and that's it. Like we have enough projects that can connect to each other without having to build up to Justice League of every project that we do here and every after credit scene. Like
Yeah. Hmm.
focus on making a good movie first, which is why I appreciate like them not rushing to get this Batman project out of the door and stuff like that. Like
Like
Yeah.
the movie has a lot of
Batman 2 is
characters.
going to be a thing, but like, why are we trying to push this out 2 years later or whatever? He's like, I read the last script or whatever he's trying to write, but guess what? It takes time to write a script.
It does.
So
Hmm.
when he's ready when he has one that I'm actually cool with, then we'll move on to the next stage. Like, instead of being like, well, we're going to have this out by 2026, and then
Like
everyone
Hmm.
hates it.
the movie has a lot of
Joker 2.
characters.
Like,
Does it suffer from that, you guys? You guys are seeing like it has it has Metamorpho, it has Superman, it has Crypto, Lex Luthor, it has Mercy, it has Ultraman, it has Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, like it has a lot of characters. Like, is it written so well so like it doesn't feel like they're just tacked on, or is there anyone that you wanted to see more get screen time but didn't, or felt was short staffed? Jonathan, you mentioned the Kents got a little short sighted. Like, does that happen a lot? Because there's so many characters in this movie.
It's definitely a bit messy. There's a lot going on. It didn't bother me that much. I saw some other folks were more upset by that than I was. I definitely would have liked more of the Kents. I think Hawk Girl. We have Elizabeth Merced as Hawk Girl. She's
yeah,
great
she was
in
great.
her scenes. She was great. She has some really memorable moments in this movie, I thought. But I would have liked even more of her. Um, yeah, it's definitely like a stark contrast, right? So you look at like a Man of Steel, where like say what you want, but that movie is just about Superman
Yep.
and nobody else. Um,
Yeah, like
it
that's dries up in comparison. Whereas I
yeah,
feel like in this situation, like there's more characters involved, but there was also a bigger storyline happening because the idea of there being more than one metahuman is established because this is 3 years into Superman's, 10 years, it's not just him.
they do
So like
establish
that
that.
becomes a
Yeah.
part of that storyline too. Like, okay, well, how do we handle like metahumans just being part of what's happening here? And what if they decide to not be heroes or not? Like, how does like politically how would we handle that? If Green Lantern decide to not be, a good guy, it could just create things, for whoever. But it's
Hmm.
like that element I feel like is handled pretty well. It does get to that point where you're like, all right, there's kind of some of these Guardian vibes where like stuff is just popping up here with some of these characters. And especially if they're being established in the film, it's your first time ever hearing of them. You're like, okay, I have no idea who Hot Girl is if I didn't watch the Justice League show, or
Sure.
some of the other stuff. But at the same time, it's like you have situations like Mr. Terrific where every scene he's in is great. And then you're like, maybe I'll read a comic or find out more about him. So it
Yeah.
does the overall universe a lot, in that end, just because you got these characters here that I don't know like where you would have seen them in anything else at this point
Hmm.
before now. And now you're getting this kind of shine, and people will look them up in general just because of the scenes they were in here. um, and you get some of that kind of splash effect with because Gunn's not afraid of also putting situations and putting some of these characters in this movie, but then also spreading some of that love for the lore end in other projects that doesn't necessarily have to mean them taking over that project. Like we had the Lantern show coming up. I'm sure Guy Gardner will probably show up there, but will he be the center character or whatever? No. They're still gonna have the other storylines there, but now you have the tie-ins, you got Peacemaker coming up and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
know, so there's room for that kind of space, but I feel like in this one it works here. I feel like the balance is good for both. being a comic book story and feeling that way, but then also like it still feels like Superman is center in the storyline. And he's got enough supporting cast on both ends that carry it pretty far. But I can agree though that like the Kens could have been used a bit more. But I feel like that time that would have been spent with them ended up being spent more of the Fortress of Solitude stuff
Mhm.
and the other storyline with other family and those kind
Yeah.
of things.
I feel like that's what Gunn does really well in his films and his projects is that he makes sure that if you have a speaking role, like you're integral to the plot in some way. You're not just like a walk on, thumbs up, walk off. Like you have you're integrating in the plot. Like and I see like this prison. I'm sure there's things in the prisons that are cool to see, but like that's his cameos right in the very far background. You may see someone that you might recognize, Star Sapphire or whatever in the prison, but like everyone who comes in and has a line it needs to be there for it have to be there for a reason. They can't just be like a walk on. It feels like he does that very well.
It's just
Mhm.
also like really like it paints the character with Lex so well because he's just so casual about it. Like so many times that it just makes the like villainy side of things like it was really juicy to me. I'm like this man just is casually strolling through a pocket universe and such and having a good old time. I'm like, oh yeah, this is just light work. Hating on Superman just kind of like a, a, a part time and a full time gig at the same time. This whole corporation stuff that we're running on the side, that's cool and stuff, I guess, but it's not it's not as important as hating Superman. So
Yeah.
just running a billionaire corporation, but Superman, that's top priority right there. We need an entire team for that. But
Mhm.
everything else, that's like maybe 3% of my day in brain power.
Yeah. Um, well, I think with that, I think that's our review of Superman 2025,
Yeah,
a
go see
movie
it.
that will, yeah, go see it. I would highly recommend it. Looking forward to seeing the next outing. James Gunn's been a little cheeky in the media and the interviews because now that Superman's out, obviously people are like, "Are you going to make a Superman 2? Will you
What's
direct it? Will
next?
somebody else
Yeah, the
direct it?"
what's next thing.
And he's like, he keeps saying yes, like obviously Superman's coming back, and he's like, I'm working on his next appearance, but he keeps saying it's not Superman 2. So obviously, I think the implication is that Superman's gonna start popping up in shit that isn't a Superman movie. Maybe he's in Supergirl. That would make sense. He'll be in
Yeah,
some other stuff. He's gonna be the mascot of this universe. So that doesn't surprise me. But
I do want to ask one thing. Like that, there's these scenes where he's in jail in like a superhero prison, a metahuman prison. Like, any cool cameos did you guys see? Donovan, you saw the movie twice. Any cool like heroes or villains did you see in the background? Because I feel like that's like ripe for like placing certain
I
villains or
feel like you
heroes.
should watch the film.
yeah,
But
yeah,
because
you gotta check it
yes,
out,
there's
man. I mean,
I'll
there are
watch it
definitely
when it
references
comes
to
to
stuff.
streaming. I mean, like that's yeah,
They're gonna put it on HBO Max at some point. I don't know when,
yeah,
but
six
yeah, for
months from now,
sure. But
maybe
I
a year
enjoyed
from now.
myself in IMAX, and I definitely enjoyed the full theater popcorn experience. Like it felt like a big movie on that end.
yeah,
Like it's definitely one of those. I'm like, hey,
true
yeah,
summer
I'm glad I went
blockbuster.
to go see it,
Yeah.
and it's got that kind of vibe to it. But Guns in the like, this made me confident that like he's got control enough right now when it's coming to the projects in general that uh, this should be a plane that's landable for a lot of other projects down the line instead of it
Yeah.
being WB taking control of things in ways that they shouldn't, and that leads to terrible films being made. Like the
Sets the
way that he's
tone.
been open and he's been talking about each project, pretty openly about where he's going with it, the people he's got involved, the direction he wants to head into. Stuff being greenlit like Batman Brave and the Bold, that kind of stuff in comparison. Like there's enough elements there where like you don't get a lot of that from previous. Like look at Kevin Feige in comparison right now of Marvel and some of that conversation that's been happening. And I'm like, oof, man. Like, are this Blade project that's been stuck in whatever you want to call it for
Yeah.
Development. We
for
just call
several
it
years
development
now?
hell. Development hell.
Like it's rough. Like trying to reboot an entire universe and such. It's like it's nice to have some freshness, but also like having a situation now where it feels like we're also in like people have grown and learned enough to see like what people are asking for and not like necessarily catering to every voice out there when it comes to the fan base. Like make a good story, a good movie that includes an actual story and characters that people want to care about. and build on that, regardless of the genre. And you're gonna have some opportunity to kind of
Well, James
make
Gunn's
something
he's had a
special.
lot of practice. He's done other smaller projects that aren't this scale all the time. And Guardians, obviously, but he's done other projects too. Like, what I mean? He's really good at that team
Yeah,
dynamic, and
but
he
you have
writes
to base
characters
it on
very well.
characters.
Yeah.
I mean, like you made a talking raccoon and a tree like work, and and people actually know them as household names to a certain extent. They grew up over the past 10 years. So it's like that takes skill, but it also takes understanding like how much of having that character on screen will work, how to make the other dynamics work at the same time. Like it's all that's good filmmaking.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, there you have it. That's going to be our Superman review. Thank you, Danny, for dropping in and doing that. We're going to keep you for all of our DC stuff as it starts to come out. But we're not the only people who watched a cool new thing over these last couple of weeks. So, Greg, I believe you got some stuff you want to review. I'll let you pick from your list of things you've seen.
Oh God, I gotta open
You want to
Slack
jump
because I
into?
can't remember because I've watched so much. Oh, After Party. I'll touch an After Party because that was a pleasantly
Okay.
surprising show that I really liked.
Oh, look at that. You like the thing.
Uh,
I saw that.
it's older
I
too,
just
but
saw
it's
that one.
it's Who Done It, Donovan? Who Done It?
Best genre.
In lieu of Knives
Yeah,
Out. So
I
it's a
dig it.
series about there's a murder at like a wealthy San Francisco house during this high school reunion, and there's all these colorful characters. And the best part of this show is that each episode is a different genre. So like it's not just all drama. Like one is like noir, and one is animated, and one is action star, and one is like it's really cleverly put together, and it's based in humor. One's a musical, which I was like really impressed by. I was like, what, you actually like wrote songs and like put them in a TV show? Like spared no expense, right, Hammond? That's the like, it's just really impressive. The detective's fun, and like they give everyone gets their backstory. Even the detective gets an interesting backstory, like because you have a TV show of 8 episodes, you're able to explore all these characters in depth each time. uh Enjoyed it thoroughly. I almost binged the whole thing in one sitting. I tried to make them last a little bit longer, but it,
Ooh.
it was great. The mystery is great. The twist was great. I didn't see it coming. We tried to guess after the first episode who did it, and see if we're right. And
Mhm.
both of us were wrong. So, really cool show. Just solves this high school trope, and I loved it. It's all filmed great. There was, like I said, there was an animation episode, which is insane. It was done cheaply, but like it still looked interesting that they did that. Super cool. Apple Plus.
That's cool.
Good show. I've seen this. This is a good show.
Oh yeah, they have a season 2 out
I like
too.
it,
I
so.
guess we just started to watch that one too. So
That I need to go to. Okay.
I have never heard of this show, so I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, it was like a
Um,
pandemic joint, I believe. Yeah, After Party's good. It's good little, like Greg said, like a good murder mystery.
there's so many shows,
Original.
man. It's so hard to like just stay on top of everything. But yeah,
Mhm.
recommend it. Apple TV Plus, funny, good, comedic, like the styles, shot well, edited well. So
That's all I have.
Nice. Amazing. Yeah, I would also second Greg's review and recommend it to anyone who's interested. I saw another movie recently, a horror movie that
is this
came
one that
out.
disappointed you?
No, this isn't
Oh.
the one disappointed me. It's called, it's got a little interesting title, Greg. It's called I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, boy.
And it is a follow-up, a reboot, if you will, of the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. That came out in 1997. Was written by Kevin Williamson, who you may know as the screenwriter of a little movie called Scream. And this new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie follows a group of new youth, young people. We've got a cast of gorgeous looking 20 somethings and then I think some 30 somethings in there as well. Back in Southport, North Carolina, baby. And after a little bit of an accident, they decide, hey, we're going to keep this to ourselves. We ain't telling nobody. And what happens a year later? Those letters start showing up, baby. And what do they say? I know what you did last summer. Now, let me just say something, right? Obviously, I know what you did last summer. Based on a novel, I'm so sorry I can't remember the name of the author right now. Um, I've always been fascinated by this franchise as a Scream fan because it's like the most successful Scream like ripoff, and it was written by the guy who wrote Scream. Um, I think the first one was good. Then they did I Still Know, which was the one where we had Jack Black with dreadlocks in the Bahamas, and that movie was like, it had its it had its moments. It had Brandy in it, which was awesome. She was great in the second one. And then they did the third movie that nobody knows exists because everyone tried to erase it from history. But with this one, I think this movie, this new one, is actually decent. And I was a doubter. When the trailer for this came out, I was like, uh-oh, this shit is not gonna be good. Because we're doing the legacy characters, but we're doing the thing where we're saying the lines from the original one, and we're doing like too much rehashing. And when they go to see Julie James, Jennifer Love Hewitt herself, and she's like, "What did you do last summer?" In the trailer, I was like, "Boy, this shit's gonna stink." But I love slasher movies, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, so I went and saw it anyway, and I was pleasantly surprised. And I think that a lot of that is due to the writer and director, Jennifer Caton Robinson. She is the woman who wrote and directed a movie called Do Revenge for Netflix. It had Maya Hawke in it, and it was like I say teen drama, but I think they were college students, but still like teen drama sort of summer movie. And this takes a lot of notes from that. This hits all the like summer campy slasher notes that you want. While also still having fun with like the franchise mythos. They obviously reference the first movie a lot. They reference the second movie a lot in some funny ways, which I appreciated. The cast, great. I think slasher movies, a big weak spot of them is that they're usually terribly written as far as characters go, and sometimes it's by design because you want to see them die. But the cast of this movie is so good. I mean, Madeline Klein is really just grown into like a very good actress. Between like Glass Onion, I've never seen Outer Banks or whatever the hell, but she's really good in this. Chase Sweet Wonders, who's the actual lead here. Great. Tyreek Withers, who's about to be in that Jordan Peele produced football horror movie Him. Great in this movie. I think in the first like 15 minutes, they like immediately established like this is like a tight group of friends. These people know each other and care about each other. I bought into it very easily, which is not usually the case with the modern slasher movie. Usually, all the characters are just annoying, and I like these guys a lot. I thought the use of the legacy characters was good. And then last thing I'll say, this movie, it's not great, but it's good. And something I really admire about it is that this movie takes some actual risks, like with its franchise, and just like the storyline. I think a lot of times when you do the reboot or the requel, as Scream famously named it, um, a lot of times they play it safe. Like certain characters always stay out of danger. Certain people only act a certain way. They won't usually touch on certain subject, but there are a couple moments in this movie where I was like, okay, we're trying that. Like we're swigging, which I respect because at the end of the day, I Know What You Did Last Summer is not a precious IP, but it is still an IP, and they take some swings with it. I liked it. Thank you, Arm Squires. Lois Duncan Arquette was the author of the original novel I Know What You Did Last Summer, which I have to say is still one of my favorite movie titles ever. It was good. Got some good kills in it. Got some good suspense. I gave it a thumbs up.
Surprised. No, maybe I'll give it a
The
look.
Fisherman. Did you? Okay, wait, that I've reviewed. Did you see on social media where Sony has been having the fishermen from this movie just like walk around on beaches and follow people
Yes,
around
I
with the
have
hook?
That
seen that.
sounds so
They were like
sketchy.
they were like the Santa Monica Pier. You just see the security footage and they just like, and people are on their phones and they're like watching them walk past. I was shit myself.
Because they're
Um,
probably that's free marketing, right? When they take the picture and like they post it, like that's
yeah,
them doing
great
marketing
marketing.
for it. It's brilliant tactic, honestly.
It's good. I
Yeah, they
mean,
have like security footage and stuff. It was like, all
yeah,
right. This
you
is-
run the risk of getting jumped, but it's a cool marketing stunt for sure.
Getting
I
jumped,
liked
yeah,
it.
you do. You getting
Yeah,
tackled, getting damaged, yeah.
yeah. Um, but there you go. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Solid summer, campy summer slasher. There it is. It's good. I liked it. I would recommend it. Boom. I can now hit the ping pong ball across the table. Back.
I feel like it's gonna be like a what are you giving
All
it
I
like a
think about
solid
when they
solid
do the
7?
note is that
Oh,
thing in
7.
Scary Movie. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they go, "Oh no, the other thing, no, the other thing." Sorry, okay,
It's Yeah, no, it's been parodied to that because by the time
Yeah.
Scary Movie came out, yeah, I know it
Yeah.
had already been out, and they parody a good bit of it. And it's two. Scary Movie 2 was the one that opens with I Know What You Did Last Summer, where they're like driving around the thing and they go to the mansion. The movie's hilarious. I hope the new one makes fun of this one. I don't know if the timeline will add up because that movie's already being written, but um, I look forward to it. Um, and to answer your question, Danny, I'd give it like a 7. I give it like a 7, which to me is a win because before I saw it, I thought it was going to be like a 4 or a 5. So,
It's been a good year for horror so far. I mean, obviously we had Sinners drop, we had a couple
oh
solid ones,
yeah,
and then obviously like Weapons is coming out,
Final
and
Destination
once
was actually decent.
yeah, like it's been a solid year so far.
hmm Yeah. So there you have it. Greg, I can let you take over for whatever you want to review next. You got a few more here that you named.
Oh, I saw. We watched Untamed, which is something Nicole wanted to watch. I thought it was interesting. It's a limited Netflix series, and it's basically just it's a cop story, but except in a city, it takes place in a national park, which is actually like cool, like trope. To, like I've never seen that before, so it was really interesting. Like
Yeah.
it has all the same tropes and things you'd find in like a cop detective story in the city, but it's just in a
Jesus.
park. So I thought that was, and it
Right.
has rangers instead of cops, which was kind of cool. I just thought that it was a really interesting way to do things. Oh, did he leave? Denny, did you leave? Oh, he had to leave.
He popped out.
Sorry. Bye, Denny.
Mhm.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Thank you.
Uh, no, I like it. It has Sam Neill, Jurassic Park. It has the Hulk himself, Eric
Oh, it
Bana.
does?
If people remember Eric Bana from those terrible Ang Lee Hulk movies, when he was a hot minute, when he did Crouching Tiger, and everyone wanted to do their movies all of a sudden.
Man.
But no, I wouldn't say it's a whodunit, but it's a mystery. Like they're solving the mystery of a girl who was murdered or fell off a mountain, and they're trying to figure out what happened to her. And that, of course, goes into all sorts of things, and it shows you the dangers of like working in a park and like the things you can die from. It's quite literally, if you've seen a cop drama, it's exactly like that, except it's national park. So it cool twist. Enjoyed it. We almost watched we watched the whole thing in 2 days. It has the guy who plays Bullseye and Derek. I can't remember his name, but the actors in Bullseye in the Netflix series, he plays an ex-war sniper. Like a lot of cool characters. Super interesting. Like super interesting show. Definitely worth a watch, especially on Netflix because there's so much stuff. But if you like mysteries and like not whodunits, but if you like mysteries and just like cop dramas, like definitely something you could watch
Mhm.
and enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I think the most interesting part is that it's like in the national parks.
Yeah.
That's a fun way to shake up the genre. There's an extra sense of like fear. You know, you're out in the wilderness. There aren't people around, or at least not as densely packed as a city would be. And there are animals and high cliffs and mountains and shit. Yeah, scary.
Yeah, they touch on all of that, like
Um,
the dangers of getting stuck somewhere where no one knows you're there, never go places alone, like how you have to use horses because jeeps can't get to cars can't get to the places, how many people
mhm.
come in and out of the national parks. The main character is a little bit like stereotypical, and like he was like, he was the beat cop with the most tragic backstory because his son died. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But like I don't think you can get
Yeah.
away with that. I think certain shows the main character is supposed to be flawed and tortured. Not Superman, but anybody else can be flawed and tortured. Uh, uh, but yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. And you follow you follow Eric Bana's character throughout the show, but he has like a deputy, and like that's kind of like where the audience role comes in because she's seeing all this stuff for the first time. Like she's experiencing what this is, so you're kind of seeing it through her views, which is like really important to have in a show. I think it's one of the biggest problems with like certain media, like with Beetlejuice 2, there was no like relatable character in that whole movie because we've already seen it all through the Maitlands. So yeah, but
Mhm.
I recommend it if you like mysteries,
Alrighty.
murders, mysteries, and espionage.
RM Squires says Nevada Bar has a good mystery with the Forest Ranger, so that's another one to keep an eye on. And then Danny says his Discord crashed. They didn't want him to mention Hulk Hogan, who went to hell today. So congratulations to him. Um, not much else to say there.
I love it. Yeah, but it's a good riddance of
Not much
Maybe I
else to
should
say
have.
there.
I know his
Yeah.
politics were absolutely asinine. So
Yeah, so there's that. He was officially shuffled off this mortal coil. Um, Greg, speaking of things I don't like,
Speaking of
watched the
things
movie.
that's always great when Donovan says it, because here it comes. I usually never hates anything. He's just by opposite of me.
I need to stretch real quick. I watched a movie in Canada. Actually, in Canada, I went to the Cineplex, which is a chain we don't have here in the U.S. of A. And I had some coffee crispers, snacks, and my little soda. And I went and saw a movie about America in Canada. And this movie, Greg, is called Eddington. Eddington. It's an A24 movie. Yep, I see your face. A24 movie. Um, Written and directed by Ari Aster, who, if you don't know, that's the guy who made Hereditary and Midsommar. Very beloved horror director of the 2010s. With Hereditary and Midsommar, I mean, reputation precedes him. And Eddington is not a horror movie. Eddington is instead a modern drama about a small town in New Mexico, I believe. And it is essentially a culture war movie. It's got Joaquin Phoenix in it, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone.
Putting Pedro Pascal in everything, that dude is not having trouble looking for work. Yeah, he is.
No,
this
is his renaissance. And this movie is about COVID and the Black Lives Matter movement and 2020 and just all the political strife and chaos of the last 5 years, kind of all just thrown into a pot and mixed into one feature film. And I hate this movie. I hate it. I thought it was terrible. I thought that it was offensive to the point that I didn't want to finish it, but I did because I wanted to have a formed opinion on it. And I'll lay out my issues with this movie, right? Because I think on the surface, right, you could certainly do a modern movie that's like, hey, let's take a look at like 2020 and like how COVID, like, irreversibly changed American culture and all these social justice movements did. But it's one of those movies that does the shit I hate. And it's not just movies. I hate when TV does it. I hate when people do it. It's when they do the like both sides shit. It's a fucking both sides movie. 90% of the movie is like, actually, conservatives and liberals are both crazy and stupid. And it's like, yeah, we fucking know. We know. I know this. But also only one of these sides thinks that like transgender people shouldn't exist, or that like companies should stop hiring so many black people. And he does the thing where they just kind of puts them both on the scales of what do you call them? The scales of justice, and they're like, what can you say? What can you really do? I mean, there's a whole Black Lives Matter storyline in this where they name drop and show an image of George Floyd's face, and they have these protesters and they play it up like it's a bit where they're like, it's a bunch of like white kids like protesting, and the movie plays like a joke, like it's funny that like, oh, a bunch of white people are virtue signaling because they want like social justice reform, but they're white and privileged, and it's just the most cringe, like tone deaf, offensive nonsense, and no. It's like no, it's not funny that white people protested after George Floyd died. Like that there's no punchline there. There's no irony in that. And it plays so much of it for jokes. I think that the fact that they dial in so much on a lot of the liberal shit, but then they don't even take time to mention like the Trump administration, how that exacerbated every issue that came with COVID. I think you see some like MAGA hats or whatever. But it just felt like such a pointless movie and this is a long fucking movie. This movie's 2.5 hours long. And I'd say the first 2 hours essentially are meaningless. There's nothing happening. It's just like, hey, remember when you had to like social distance in grocery stores? Remember when like people refused to wear masks in public? And it's not interesting. It's not. It really just feels like it was shock value for the sake of shock value. It's one of those things that like it thinks it's like this high and mighty piece of art because it's like, oh, we offended everybody. I made the right and left mad, and it's like there's nothing profound in that. It's just annoying and pointless. And I think we should put Ari Aster in director jail. I think he should only be allowed to make horror movies.
You tell me that a white Jewish director that went to AFI missed the mark on a Black Lives Matter? Like, dude, seriously? Like, I could have told you I'm not even looking at the fucking film. Like, this is gonna be a disaster.
Who would have thought?
Don't do that.
Director jail.
Yeah,
Director
don't
jail.
don't do
Ari
that,
Aster.
man. Don't do that.
You're only allowed to make psychological horror movies. Boom. Sign it, seal it. Like it's just stupid. It's stupid shit. So yeah, I was annoyed watching this movie. In fact, I was embarrassed because as many people know, La La Land is one of my favorite movies ever. I love Emma Stone. I wish she wasn't in this movie. I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm embarrassed that you're in this. Like secondhand embarrassment that you're in this. I felt the same way about Pedro Pascal. Um, yeah, that's the thing, Squires. It feels like it hardly has a stance to take. And you could like read into the very end of it and be like, well, he does fall on this side or that side. But I just feel like so much of the movie is fence sitting bullshit, where it's just like everybody's crazy, and it's like, okay, so what else? So now what? Like, I don't know. I just found it to be so obnoxious of a movie. And don't get me wrong, there are people who like this movie. I have a buddy who saw it and loved it. I did not. I did not like Eddington even a
For
little bit.
for every big hit A24 has, they have like 5 stinkers. Like at this point,
A
I think they need to slow
A24 has
down.
lost. They have lost all their sauce for me. 6 years ago, if a movie trailer had the A24 logo, it was like, oh, whoa, okay. And now I'm like, if I see it, I'm like, like they had Death of the Unicorn earlier this year. That was like weird and came out. People were like, okay, what's this? Um, I don't know. Uninteresting. Go back to making horror movies.
I
I don't know what to
can
tell
say
them.
I don't like AFI because one, they're like ridiculously fucking expensive school, and as someone who went to art,
Not if you get a
school,
scholarship.
and as someone who went to fucking a film art school, I'll tell you that like what you pay for, it's about $120,000 a year for tuition. No, it's $120,000 for full tuition. It's like $65,000 a year or something for a 2-year program or whatever. Is that like what you're paying for is the fucking connections? Because like I may get canceled this, but all the rich kids go to that fucking school. A lot of the rich kids go to that school and they have a lot of connections. So that's what you pay for is the fucking connections, not the education per se. The fucking going there and going to someone's cousin.
I'm sure they have a
who's
good
friends
film
with a
school
producer
too.
at like Paramount or whatever, and like that's how you get DP jobs or editing jobs or fucking whatever. Because that's
I'm sure
what
they
the
have
whole
a good
industry
film
is.
school too. You're going for education as well. You can't say that a film school doesn't have a good film program. I'm sure they do.
No, I'm
But
not
it's a
saying.
lot of
I'm
people went
saying
there.
like I'm saying it's second to the people who go there as a connection. It's a connection school.
Well, it's
That's
because so many famous people went there. It's no different than USC, where it's a film school. So guess a lot of filmmakers went to a film school. So now there's a prestige that comes with that when you can say, hey, all these directors and successful actors and screenwriters went to our school. Um, I don't care what school Ari Aster went to. I care that he wrote a shitty storyline about the Black Lives Matter movement in his political drama that he thought was way more interesting than it
they're
actually
finding
was.
investors. A24. There's a lot of
Um,
people who want like because of that, Donovan. Because A24 used to be like pretty prestige. Now there's all these investors wanting to put money into a film because it's A24
Take it out.
and they're producing too many films.
Take it out.
They're producing too many.
Remove
Scale
it.
back.
Remove the funds. But yeah, other than that, I mean, hey, the actors are good. I mean, they're talented actors. I won't deny that. Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Joaquin Phoenix, they're talented people who know how to act very well. They act well in this movie. That I can't take. There's one thing that happens in the story late in the movie, like the last 40-ish minutes, that I was like, whoa, okay. That I wasn't expecting and made me like curious and intrigued. But it was still too little too late. But those are the only good things I can say about it. Eddington sucked. Don't watch it. Greg, what would you like to review next?
I think it's funny because like I think this strikes me as something like when Pedro Pascal and Joaquin Phoenix say yes to it, you just make the movie. Like you just say yeah. When they say yes to something, you just do it. You know what I mean?
It's Ari Aster. I think A24 is going to make whatever Ari Aster wants to make because he made Hereditary, which is still the most iconic movie that studio has ever distributed in theaters in
Isn't
the
it
history of
like
A24. I'd say.
like there was like a twin or something in the brain. Is that the one?
You're thinking of Malignant, which was the James Wan
Sorry,
horror
I
movie.
get these so many fucking horror movies and I get confused and they all look at the poster.
Hereditary was Tony Collette. It was 2018. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's one of the most iconic horror movies of the last 10 years, Greg. I don't know how to describe it to you, but it was a very beloved horror movie. It was A24, still their biggest movie. Well, not financially, I think.
What was
it's
7 years old? What was the twist? Because I'll maybe remember from the twist. Because I read all the synopses.
There's not like a like reveal. There's not like a killer or something. It's a psychological horror movie. It's just them dying as like a demon. But it was good. It's very good.
Yeah, you say demon killer horror movie, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's so many fucking like I'm going through my trying. Yeah,
but
I know.
Hereditary
Yeah.
was the one. Hereditary was the one. Yeah. Very, very good movie, and like that goes by my point. They're gonna make whatever he wants to make. It's Ari Aster. He made that. And then Midsummer was the Florence Pugh cult horror movie, which is also very beloved. So he definitely has that status with that studio. But they should rethink it. And with that, I want to wrap up talking about Eddington. Greg, you still got a couple things left on your list here.
Oh God, what do you want me to hit next? I can. Adolescence. You talked
Adolescence,
about
dude. What'd you think of that?
that.
What'd you think
You
of that?
you were on the show, didn't you?
I did review it on the show. Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's filmed beautifully. Like, I can't even describe like how, like stage plays go that long as well. But like this is like you're having movements and long shots through cars, like super impressive. And that's something I think I've seen more in Hollywood. Are those long extended
Mhm.
shots? They do it in the studio too. These super long shots of the entire episode is a single shot, or close to it. And shot incredibly well. Like it's just like I, as an editor, I watched that thing. I'm just like,
Adolescence is the most impressive one shot
Yeah.
anything I've ever seen. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The scene where you watched all of it.
yes,
I mean, the scene where they go to the school. I'm like watching like the choreography, the
Yeah.
fucking coordination to do this, to pull this off is astounding.
the
And in a lot of those
practice.
cases, they only messed up a couple times or a few times. The one where they drive, where they get in the car
Yeah.
and the camera just somebody off screen attaches it to the car, but then they don't cut. They just talk the whole drive to like the
Yeah,
store wherever
they're really
going.
driving. They're
I'm
not
like,
being towed. I thought they were being towed or something. No, he's really driving, which could be super dangerous.
I'm like to even like the filmmaking synergy to write a script that is like the dialogue is long enough that it occupies an entire car ride, but is also still interesting and good. And it like accounts for the actual real life car ride. I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like, this is like mind boggling levels of filmmaking here. But please keep going. What'd you think of what else did you think of the show?
It got a little slow in the middle, but then it picked up at the end. Really super, like you said, it's heavy duty, super sad ending. And like Nicole and I watch it because Nicole works with kids, and so like it's very interesting to see that dynamic. And I'll just say this, like, yeah, don't let your minor child access unfiltered the internet. Period. Like that's there's a let you don't I don't care if they want a fucking phone, if they're throwing tantrums, like you don't give them a phone, but then monitor that shit. Block it. There's a million parental controls to do this option. Do not give a 13-year-old kid unfiltered access to the internet. Period. They need to
What
be
age
monitored.
do you give them unfiltered access? What age do you let
That's
them
what
have
they had.
unfiltered
It can
access?
happen. Like there's just, I mean, they go down rabbit holes, and it's very dangerous, and you don't know who they're communicating with. You don't know what they're doing. Like you have, because at the end they're like, "Oh, he wanted a computer. We got him a computer." And I'm like, "Why did they do that? He's 13. Computer should
What age
be."
should you get a computer?
You have to be individual parents. I just
What
say don't give your child a computer in their room at 13 that they can do whatever with. Monitor it. Keep it in the living room, or have parental guard locks on so they can't go to websites or chat rooms or forums.
Yeah.
Or better yet, like make sure that you have access to their Instagram if they're under 18. I'm gonna have access to your Instagram. I'm gonna be able to look through all your shit at any given time. It puts that check balance on people to know what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Like
Well, what I
Go
think is interesting about adolescence is because I think, yes, that's like the warning, but I don't think the show was hard plant being like, you're wrong if you don't watch over your child like a hawk with everything they look at on the internet. You should, but I think I think there's more layers to the conversation because we have to keep in mind the relationship between a parent and a child, right? And I think it's easy to be like, oh, you should just look at your child's Instagram DMs and you should like look at every URL they visit. You should just monitor everything they do. Your child's gonna fucking hate you, and they're gonna move out of your house and not talk to you again. And not every parent wants that. I know it's easy to say, and it's like that's fine. I'll let my kid be mad at me, but like I don't know how it feels to like for my son to tell me he hates me or he wants me to die or he wants to get out of my house or not. So that's hard. It's a battle. I think that there are two sides to that argument where it's like, yeah, I mean, you don't want your kid on Reddit or looking whatever the fuck this motherfucker was looking at online. But it's also like you also have to like let your children be themselves and find themselves, right? Where I'm like, I had mostly unfettered access to the internet. And you know, like my parents, like I was raised to be a respectful, normal, well-adjusted human being. But I probably would have resented my parents a little bit if they were like getting on my laptop and like pulling up the search history and being like, "Why are you talking to this person?" I would have disliked them a lot probably as a child. So I think there's a balancing act in there. I'm not a parent, so I don't know what it is, but it's sad. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. And I think that the parents in this, and you watch them like the scene where they're talking, and I think it's the mom or the dad's like beating himself up because he's like, you know, we never he was in his room and we didn't like go see what he was doing, or we didn't check and like keep up with any of that stuff. I think it's the mom who's just like, we never could have known. Like there was no, it's not like he was in there like screaming or like hitting the walls or like yelling about anything. It's like he gave off the image of being normal and a well-adjusted. He didn't seem like he had any like issues or exhibit any signs of being like, demented or messed up. He wasn't like beating people up or anything. And then it just one moment he just snapped. He just completely lost it, and it became this terrible occurrence.
Well,
But
decline in mental health because of the fucking phone, and because he had granted, when you had access to the internet, it was a different internet. It's even different now. But they mentioned Andrew Tate, they mentioned 80/20, they mentioned all these things that a
Yeah.
13-year-old doesn't know how to fucking process. I mean, maybe some do, right? But I'm gonna say majority of children are not gonna know how to process that information. Like I mentioned, my nephew loves South Park, doesn't get any of the Cartman references, and I keep telling him like, no man, that's it's a racist thing. Don't say that. Like you're not supposed to like Cartman. You can laugh at him, but you shouldn't be like looking up to him or thinking he's cool. Like he's an asshole. You know what I mean? And then that's a racist thing. And like he's like, oh, I didn't know. Like so, like that's the problem. Like, and it's just you have this little box with like unfiltered information of everything, and like kids aren't gonna know how to process. The majority of kids aren't gonna know how to process that information, and it can
I think
cause
also
mental health damage. Like you know what I mean? Like it's
I think also what's gotten like weird about this now is that like grown ass adults have weird relationships with the internet and social media.
Yeah.
Like, and when I was growing up in the 2000s, and I know this was a thing in the 90s and whatnot, it was like, hey, don't talk to strangers on the internet. Like, be careful. Don't put personal information on the internet. Like, that's what like the parents and adults would say because they didn't have internet or know it like that. So to them, they were like, hey, this is like dangerous stuff. Stay away from it. But now, like, everyone's grandmother is on Facebook and like posts selfies and like comments on posts and believes like fake AI news stories and movie posters and whatnot. They retweet shit that's like fake news and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. The damn adults are or on there interacting with shit they shouldn't be touching, let alone knowing what they should separate their children from. I think that even a grown ass adult's ability to discern what should and shouldn't be spread to the internet has kind of eroded over the years. That's not really the issue with this kid's parents, but I think something on a broader scale is definitely a challenge.
No, I think like but you said like kids would want pizza every day for dinner, and they would eat it every day. But like you have to be an adult and responsible and say, you know what, no, we're not gonna do pizza every day. You're gonna have to eat vegetables. And like yeah, kids like it's part of just growing up and maturing. It's part of like the series says adolescence. It's just
Yeah.
the internet is a big factor. I've had
hmm
friends that have kids that their computers are in their living rooms, right? And they're on so they're monitoring most of it, and they have parent controls and timing and stuff like that. But like even some of them find like I didn't realize my son was in this Discord talking to like grown ass fucking adults. It's a dangerous
Who
place to
among us didn't
navigate.
talk to adults on the internet as children?
It's
I know I sure
dangerous.
did.
I mean, like you had instant messenger. I mean, you were too young for this, but the instant messenger, like that was dangerous too, right? Like, but
I
like
was doing all
usually,
that. I was talking to all sorts of random ass
yeah.
strangers on
I
the
mean,
internet.
like
I
it
just
sounds
wasn't
like
fucking
infamous
crazy,
in
but yeah.
in that community, right? It's very scary. It's a scary place to navigate, and I'm just saying that if you want to be a responsible parent, you have to monitor, you have to control. And I'm just talking about just screen time. Like, know what sites your child is visiting. Again, child, I'm not saying 18-year-old, right? And when I say under 17 and under, knowing what sites, what forums, what discords your kids are in, discussing what is important. Because you need to have a conversation. No, like, see, like this is not like okay, like this is bad, this you're in dangerous territory. Because that's your job as a
Mhm.
parent. Your job is not to be their friend. Like, and they might hate you. And I've like I've had friends who slam doors in their parents' faces over taking, privileges away to Nintendo or TV or whatever. Like that's part of growing up. It's just what it is. But like the job of the parents is to parent, not be their kid's friend. It's one of the
Mhm.
biggest things we
I
see all the
just
time. Is just they want to be their kids' friends, and so they don't discipline, they don't teach, they don't monitor, and they just end up being, like you said, those adults on the internet that just are complete assholes and just don't understand how to do anything. It's very, very complex. I think worldwide epidemic.
it's complex. I think there's a balance because one thing that I witnessed growing up, all the sheltered kids, all the kids who grew up with like the strict parents who like never let them do shit, didn't let them go anywhere, didn't let them like play any games with us. Like they're the ones that when we all grew up and like went to college, they're the ones that like fucking tweaked out and like went to college and started doing like party drugs and were like passing out in the streets and were like trying like all sorts of random crazy shit. because they had never experienced what it was like to make their own decision, and they like went off the deep end. And a lot of them are like just now like figuring out that they're older than like 19. And you could create that kind of child if you make them feel like they live in a bunker. But I think that the lesson is simply you should take an interest in what your child does, right? Like you said, if you see your child online messaging, you don't have to be like, hey, you're not allowed to talk to people, but oh, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Johnny. Like, oh, okay, like Johnny goes to your school. Like, okay, no, you met him on Halo 3. All right, well, that's interesting. Like, how old's Johnny? Stuff like that. I think there's there's a balance in there. You have a Twitter? Okay, what's your at? I'm gonna look at it. Like, what's your handle? Stuff like that. I think is the happy medium in there. But the show itself,
Show's good.
I mean, great. That dude, how about that kid? That performance. That's
Yeah,
his
he's
first
very
role
good.
acting.
He's very good.
Dude, when he
Very talented
screams
actors.
at the when he screams at the like woman in that room, and it was episode 3, I was like, oh, I was like, he's gonna like stab me. I was scared. Yeah, that's good. I mean, the parents are awesome. This is they're British. I forget if this is in the UK or like somewhere else in
They mentioned
over
Liverpool,
there.
so I would think it's in UK.
I think it's in the UK. I think it's in
but
yeah, England.
It's interesting too because the focus isn't just on the child because it's they've done this in some
It's
dramas,
not, no.
but not a lot. Like there's fallout. Like when you read about someone shooting up a movie theater or shooting up a school, like they have parents, they have family, and you know what I mean. Not all the times are the family's not a piece of shit. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not. They're just human beings trying to get their way through life, and it paints that picture of like the fallout of what happens, you know what I mean? And how like a good parent anyway would feel responsible and like dealing with that guilt and grief of like losing their son and having their son kill somebody. Like the society, how society views them. It's like it plays a lot of that stuff, which it's not explored enough. Honestly, it's really not. Usually when
Mhm.
something happens, it's the sole focus is the person who did the crime and nothing else, right? But they have families, which is probably good. You probably want to leave the families out of it, but like it's interesting to explore that, like, he has that great the father has that great scene in the last episode where he doesn't really attack the teenagers, but like he grabs them and like shakes them, and he has like some great lines. It's just like he's like, you don't get to laugh at me, like you don't know what I'm going through, you're not me, you don't know what my life is, and this is really powerful lines, and it's I think a lot of
Yeah.
people feel that way a lot because the one thing we love doing in our society now is judging on the internet all the time about everything. And it's because you don't know what they're like. You don't know what they're going through. Like I remember there's an article like years ago, like be nice to your service workers. You don't know if their mom died or they just found out they had cancer or whatever. It's like be nice to people, and that's even then that's an anomaly I think in our culture. Just being nice to somebody.
Mhm.
I've had people screw up my order, but I was like, whatever. Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like I've seen people scream on the internet at people for getting their McDonald's order wrong, and I'm just like, dude, really? Like just
Right.
go on with your day. You know what I mean? Like.
Mhm.
Really weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved it.
Uh,
I mean, it's heavy duty. If you need a drama, like a social drama, it's definitely interesting watch. If you have kids, I think you should definitely watch it. Because it just, I don't know, puts more stuff on your radar, I guess, about like, what is your son doing on the phone for 8 hours if they're not monitored. I know my nephews, they're monitored. They don't have phones, so they're not really monitored. There's one tablet that they all share, but when they go to my mother-in-law's house, it's unfiltered access, and my youngest nephew, who's now 4, will spend the entire time there 8 to 10 hours on shorts, unfiltered shorts.
Fuck that. That sounds awesome.
And I'm
I
like,
wish I could
dude,
do
like
that.
you have to. But the thing is, so he watches Bluey, but it's a parody account
Good
of
show.
Bluey where they're doing terrible things. So it's not the real Bluey.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Watch the real blue. The real blue is good.
That's not what the shorts algorithm is recommending to him. And again, I've talked to my mother-in-law. Be like, well, she's like, he keeps finding these Bluey shorts, but it's like not real Bluey. He's like doing bad things and getting away with it. And I'm like, dude, can you please? I'm like, please let me show you how to put filters on the tablet, please. Like, cause like he really shouldn't be watching that stuff. He's 4.
Just block the channel. Just block the channel. That's it.
I don't
And
think
it
you
won't show up
can.
ever again.
I don't think you can block a channel from appearing in your short. You can like disrecommend it, or like the only do is you have to have parental controls that block the channel, because Google won't let you block channels because they want ad rev. So like you just have to like get it out of the algorithm. But yeah, it's crazy stuff. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like Bluey doing bad things, and like it's all that unfiltered internet is.
There's an option in YouTube that says don't recommend channel. It's got the big line through the circle. They should try hitting that button and
Would they do
we'll
that
see
with
if
the shorts feed?
the evil Bluey. Yeah, they're all videos. It reads the yeah. It would. Interesting. Well, I'll have to find evil Bluey and talk to him myself. But Yeah, I think it's a great show. It's a great show. Like I said, it's heavy. It's not if you just want like a spicy true crime drama, that's probably not the one.
Yeah, yeah,
But if you're
spicy.
down,
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
down for something that's a bit more like heavy, and it's only 4 episodes, which I appreciate. It's a great program. Um, I don't know if I have anything else to review. I think we're just gonna keep the ball on your side. I think I reviewed my last thing.
Well, today's the first
What
day of
uh,
Comic-Con officially too. We can talk about that just a little bit.
Oh yeah, there you go. Ozzy's over there, kind of doing stuff. They put out the new FNAF trailer, FNAF 2, baby. That's coming. Let the let the freaking animatronics
Yeah,
rejoice.
it's funny. I have to like we stopped going for several reasons, but two of the reasons was it became all about TV shows.
It's because you're a jaded games journalist.
No, but like, the thing is, it was a lot. There was not a lot of games there for a hot minute, and it was a lot of TV shows, especially a lot of new TV shows. I went to a Step and Repeat Donovan. It was a sci-fi show that lasted one season, and I forget what it was about, but like the actors and the people on the thing where I'm not saying they're all nobodies, but they're all newer actors. They're not household names. They're not big stars, right? They're all actors. And they couldn't say anything about anything because the show was like supposed to be a secret. And I was just like, well, why are we doing a Step and Repeat if you can't tell us about the plot, your character, anything about the show? Like, what was the point? And it became a lot of those like really like cheesy sci-fi shows that last one season and get canceled. It became a lot of those shows, and like
Right.
less gaming, less movies. Like for from a press standpoint, I still think I might be able to pitch us to go next year, but I just think it's expensive too. Like getting a hotel down there, like Ozzy said, parking is $85, and I've seen it. The closer you get to the convention center, the higher the parking goes. Like walking 8 blocks away is like $50. If you park right across the street,
That's all right. We're flying in. We're not driving anything. We're flying in.
It's crazy.
Forget
So,
it.
but like, I think there's a lot of opportunities for social content there now, and I don't even think most of the companies. They just did an article on this in my local paper too that are opting for activations outside the convention. So like, you don't even need a badge.
That's what Ozzy's doing.
Yeah, you don't need
Ozzy
to
doesn't
get
have a
badge
badge
anymore, unless you want to buy things or see panels. That's it. So most
Well, the
of
show
stuff is
floor, you
outside.
need a badge.
Yeah.
Which is
But so everything is outside. Everything. So it's most of the stuff. So I mean, yeah, maybe next year, possibly.
Yeah.
We haven't gone
At some
since
point.
2019. So
I'm a New York Comic Con guy. I'll probably go to that this October, do my thing up there in the Big Apple, see some faces, shake some hands. But yeah, it's, I think you talk about movies. Marvel and DC over the last 5 or 6 years have gotten really iffy with Comic Con because for that first decade of the MCU from like 2008 to like when Infinity War came out, it was like every summer, Hall H,
yeah,
Marvel
Hall H was
Studios
the
panel.
thing.
They would come out, they would announce new Marvel movies, they would reveal the actors, people would go crazy. Like that was like the landmark. People would go to San Diego Comic-Con, buy tickets just to wait in line overnight just to see those. That was like a huge part of that culture. And DC was the same. Like say what you want the Snyder stuff, but they had a hype train for a moment where they were announcing BVS, Justice League, Wonder Woman. That was all San Diego Comic-Con stuff. And at some point, right before the pandemic, around Endgame and Infinity War, Marvel and DC were like, we actually don't have to do this every year. They still go sometimes. I know Marvel went, I think it was last year, the year before they announced RDJ was coming back or whatever. But a lot of years they just take off. They're just like, we're just not going to do it this year. And I think that hit the San Diego Comic-Con ecosystem pretty hard because that was the reason. That was the biggest draw for so many people.
It's egregiously
it's kind of
expensive
changed the way
as
they go
someone who
there.
used to work with other companies that would have activations there. If they've gotten like inside the convention, anywhere close to the convention center, inside is like gotten egregiously expensive. Booth design tear up. It's become. There's also been that conversation. It's become less about the comics and more about other things, pop culture and not comics. Which it's true. I think in 2019 2017, I went there and the actress who played Maggie in The Walking Dead was doing some like cop drama show and it was everywhere. And I'm like, what does this have to do with anything? It was just a cop drama show. Like there was no pop culture reference. There was no comic relatability. No, it was just a cop drama show and it was everywhere. And you're like, because she was in The Walking Dead, is that why it's everywhere? It became a really weird place to advertise, and with egregious expenses of.
It's just Entertainment Central. It's Entertainment Central.
Yeah,
So if you're
yeah.
Paramount, you've got a new TV show, you push it to Comic Con. You got it doesn't matter if it's based on the comic or not. Yeah, it's what it is. New York Comic Con's similar. Yeah.
I would say
That's what
it's not
those
as big
will
as San
see.
Diego, right? In terms of numbers, I think. It's
No,
smaller.
San Diego Comic Con is the biggest one.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we should go again. Maybe next year I can pitch it. We can go again, and because there's a lot of opportunities for social coverage, I think outside. And if you're in the San Diego area, go check it out. You will pay like $50 for parking, but most of the stuff is outside, so you don't need to go inside. You don't need a badge anymore. Go check it out.
It's also very important for that city financially. Like a lot of those people who run businesses in that San Diego area, like depend on the money that Comic Con brings in every year because it's thousands of people that come in. I mean, you talk about hotels and stuff, but even things like restaurants, gift shops, so many of those businesses all kind of lean on Comic Con to bring in that revenue year round, which is why every time they talk about moving it somewhere else, they're like, fuck no, it has to be here.
Yeah, they've been wanting to
Um,
expand the
yeah.
convention center, but like it's a 2 year expansion, I guess. So like they can't have it for 2 years, and Vegas is like come to us, and they don't want to lose it. Yeah, it's a good influx of like San Diego's a really expensive fucking city to live in anyway, like regardless of Comic Con. So I don't know, but there's a lot of industry out there without Comic Con. They'll survive. They just don't want to not survive with it. You have
They
SDSU.
would
There's a
not
ton of
survive.
colleges down there.
Oh,
There's a lot of money in San Diego. They'll be fine. They just want that.
no, they wouldn't. They would lose so much
I
money.
think they'd be fine.
No, they wouldn't. If it's the biggest time of the year, that'd be like being like Spirit Halloween would be fine if we didn't celebrate Halloween this year. If we just took it off the calendar, so they wouldn't be fine.
I think they'd be okay.
They would fire a lot of people. They
Well,
wouldn't. It's their biggest money of the year. If you're working the tourism industry, what's the bigger tourism draw to San Diego than Comic Con?
the beach, weather, Legoland, the San Diego Zoo.
Legoland does not pull in
SeaWorld.
Comic Con money. There's
Yeah,
no
you'd be
way.
surprised,
SeaWorld
man.
definitely doesn't.
You'd be surprised since Disneyland's jacked up their like for like as a SoCal kid, since Disneyland's been like egregiously aggressing their pricing over the last 2 decades, like people are now taking their family to Legoland because it's a quarter of the cost. And so like we're gonna have this, and this leads into something else I've been wanting to talk. This interesting. It's like now we're gonna have this whole generation of kids that aren't Disney kids, right? They're gonna be Lego kids because they didn't go to Disneyland when they were like 1 to 13. They went to Legoland every weekend because it was $20 to get in. I think it's a very interesting concept, and we'll see that when they get adult money and get jobs, if like Disneyland just goes through the floor because they're too expensive now for most families, and most kids are going to.
I think that's a
Disneyland
small
area.
niche of people because Legoland's only in California, right?
Yeah.
It's only in San Diego. I mean, Disney World is still an East Coast staple. I mean, if you live east of the Midwest, I mean, it's still Disney World, Universal. Or I mean, you're talking tourism and attractions. But Legoland seems cool. I've never been to San Diego at all. So
You've never been to San Diego?
no, done LA
Oh,
plenty
wow.
of times. Done San Francisco a couple times. Nothing's ever been down there for me to go to. They got rid of the Chargers. The Chargers moved from San Diego
Yeah, we
up
don't
to
have
LA.
a football team anymore. Yeah, that was good. I grew up down there, so yeah, I
Yeah.
can just tell you it's a very expensive place to live.
They got rid of your football team. Yeah. Well, there you go. We got 5 minutes until Intel reports their earnings, folks. I believe it's probably what Q2 for them at this point.
Am I streaming that or
Um,
no? Let's see it on
That's a
the
beautiful question, Greg.
I don't see it on the
I don't
schedule.
know. I don't know. I wish I could tell you.
All right, it's
I feel
okay.
like you
I'll ask
might
right now.
you might be, but we'll see. But if you want that financial news, go to shacknews.com because we will be reporting it. And with that,
Oh my God,
gonna go
Airbud
ahead
comes
and-
back.
Airbud's coming back. It's true.
I never
Ain't
realized
no
he left
rules.
after the 8 fucking sequels and 12 spin-offs they did of animals playing sports.
Well, this is the 16th Airbud movie, Greg.
Ah,
This is going to be the 18th Airbud movie, Greg. It is.
16?
Well, a lot
Oh,
of them
that's-
were direct. We got to think because think of all the buddies when they did Air Buddies. That became its own spin-off series. So they did Little Buddies. They did like Buddies in Space, Air Buddies Hockey. These were all like these direct-to-DVD sequels throughout the 2000s and 2010s. The last Airbud movie in theaters was probably Airbud 2 Golden Receiver.
I can't. The whole trailer for that. It's so like late 90s, early 2000s. No world says the dog can't play. Shut the fuck up. Just stop.
That's awesome. You're a hater.
Stop.
That was so. Hey, ain't no rules says a dog can't play basketball. And you know what? They put it on the poster for this one. Ain't no rules.
Did they did it?
2026.
They did?
Look.
Yeah, they did.
Look, ain't no rules. 2026. I'm gonna tell you right now, this movie is gonna do well. I'll give you a couple reasons why. One, it's the perfect nostalgia blend because yes, Airbud never went away because they made a million of those direct-to-DVD sequels. Guess what? Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that there's 16 Airbud movies. Most people think there's like 3 or 4 because
Oh,
they
I
stopped
know
putting them in
because
theaters.
you go to the grocery store and be like, oh look, another Airbud
Yeah.
movie.
But the people who go to the theaters watch movies are like, wow, Airbud. You haven't seen Airbud on a movie theater poster since the 90s.
Did you know did you know that like that whole industry was a sub industry in itself? So like they would make movies like super cheaply, like dirt cheap, terrible movies that they would make look like the cover of like Finding Nemo or Toy Story, and they would put them in grocery stores specifically to like trick like someone who's all being like, oh, the
Was
new
like
Disney,
Asylum Films.
yeah, the new Disney
doing
movie
the-
is out. It's still in theaters. I'm gonna get this for my grandson. And you get home and it's like Finding Doria, and it's like some really terrible fucking CGI fish movie that has nothing to do with any of Disney's. Like that was a whole Shubcat. That was a whole business, Donovan.
That
That's
sounds like a Asylum Films
that's,
used to
yeah,
do
that's
that.
gone. Thank Christ. But like that was the whole business, was to trick like people who weren't aware of movies to like buy movies for their kids, that thinking it was the Disney one, because they would make it look exactly like the
Knockoffs,
Disney
baby.
one. Oh my god,
Knockoffs exist everywhere.
awful.
Airbud Returns. This is gonna be peak. Look, we're in a renaissance for animals
Don't
and
say
movies.
Airbud and Peach should
we're-
not go in the same sentence. That should not go
It should. Also, rest in peace. The dog that played Airbud died like 10 years ago, I think. We're having a renaissance for animals and movies. Think about it. Crypto right now in Superman, they said that pet adoption, or like Google searches for like adopt dogs near me, went up like 3,000% after that movie came out. People care about dogs in movies again. You look at what was the Oscar movie the other year, Anatomy of a Fall, where they had the dog at the Oscars because people love the dog in that movie. I'm telling you, everybody's gonna come out. They're gonna cast the right golden retriever, and it's gonna take the world by
Our
storm.
analytical
And there
data
ain't no
shows that
rule.
people love monkeys and
Ain't no-
dogs in movies, and more of them should be.
Ain't no rule says a golden retriever can't break box office records. Ain't no rule, Greg. It's coming.
There's some
coming.
movies out there you just look back, and the good one is what's the there was a movie called I'm just waiting to see if I need to stream so I can keep talking until they tell me to.
Well, it's not gonna be at
Teen-
4. It's
Teen
not gonna be
Wolf.
now. It's gonna be an
Teen
hour.
Wolf is a terrible fucking movie. It's a bad movie. Guess what, Donovan? When it came out, it was peak, and everyone loved it, and it made $1 billion, and it made 2 sequels, and just there's certain movies that just don't age well, and I think that's one of those movies that just it's funny because it's such a 90s movie. It's a very 90s premise where like they were putting animals in sports for like a
Airbud's
hot minute.
awesome.
Yeah, all the time.
Airbud's
It's because you were
awesome.
like 5 when you saw it, so like you're like, this is
I rewatched Airbud in 2020. I watched the first 3. I watched Airbud. I watched Airbud 2 Golden Receiver. And then I watched God, what was the third? It was Soccer, I think. God damn it. I'm trying to remember all the
you are
name
not
puns.
allowed to rewatch anything else until you watch the list you have. No watching Airbud
Okay.
for the 10th time. You have to.
Sorry. Airbud World Pup.
Yeah.
That was Airbud 3, where he was playing soccer. My favorite one is Golden Receiver. Second one.
Yeah, that title is
that dog is awesome, and golden retrievers are awesome. All right.
oh,
okay,
sports
well.
movies. That's funny.
Well, with that, we're gonna wait with bated breath until we get updates on the next Airbud movie. But you bet your sweet ass Airbud returns in 2026. And with that, we will return next week for another episode of Pop Goes the Culture. But until then, I'm Donovan. That's Greg. And that was Denny. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Have a good one. Bye.